Good afternoon, everybody. We're at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, at the foot of the Flatirons. I'm Les Shapiro, along with Dave Logan. And Dave, a lot of people around here unfamiliar with the Baylor Bears, but we'll learn about them very quickly, won't we?
Well, we will learn about them, and I can guarantee you the CU football team is going to learn about them as well. Grant Teaff, in his 20th year as the head coach of Baylor, feels like this might be his best defensive team ever. And that's not great news for a CU offense that has yet to gel after only one game. They've got to get things together today, and Baylor easily their best of the non-conference opponents this year.
CU head coach Bill McCartney said this week this is one of the best teams to ever come into Boulder during his coaching regime. A lot of questions around here about the CU offense. Are they rebuilding or reloading? It looks to me after that first game against Wyoming, Dave, they're rebuilding.
Well, they're rebuilding in the offensive line with 4 new starters, a bunch of young kids who are of excellent talent, and yet they're going to need a while to develop. You can't expect guys to come out of high school, out of redshirt years, and step in and play like the veteran team they had last year. They're rebuilding up front. They're reloading behind them with Darian Hagan back after the offseason surgery, the injury in the Orange Bowl. Hagan looked terrific against Wyoming. He's returning punts. He's running the option. He's even throwing the ball a bit. He is the key, obviously, for CU offensively.
It's not too bad when you have to rebuild around people like Darian Hagan and a preseason All-American at center, Jay Lewinberg. Now, on defense, they are definitely reloading. This is a darn good defense.
Well, conversely, we talked about Grant Teaff and his defense. Bill McCartney feels like it could be the best defense he's had here in his tenure, which says a lot because they were pretty good last year defensively. Very quick. Easily the most athletic defense that you'll see this year, I think, of the CU Buffaloes, and especially in the secondary where they cover people. They're big, they're fast, and that will be the key thing for them today.
We know the linebackers are going to get a lot of work today because Baylor has a darn good fullback in Robert Strait. Who do you look for at CU's linebacking core?
Well, Greg Biekert obviously is a guy that's going to get a lot of work. He plays inside linebacker, and Robert Strait, the fullback, who is about 245 pounds, will test Biekert. Biekert coming off a banged-up shoulder, but he is the hub of the defense, the guy that makes the calls and plays very tough inside.
All right, let's deal a little bit with Baylor now. Let's start with the offense. Scored 27 points against UTEP last week. In a 27-7 win, they ran for 290 yards, led by Mr. Strait.
Well, again, he's a guy that breaks a lot of tackles. When you're that big, and he's got halfback skills, in a big man's body, you're going to run through arm tackles. They have got to, they being CU defensively, have got to stop the fullback today. He will be the guy that will carry the football 20 to 25 times. If he's running free, CU will have problems.
And on defense, keep an eye on that Baylor line because it might be one of the best in the nation, the 4 men up front.
Well, Santana Dotson, a Lombardi candidate, an Outland Trophy candidate, 6'5" and well over 260 pounds. They say the best asset of his game is his quickness, and yet he's got terrific size. It will be a test for CU up front today.
All right, before we go to a commercial break, I want to talk to you a little bit about a change in the rules, the field goal situation, the goal posts, I should say specifically. They're a little smaller this year, aren't they?
They're a little smaller and a little harder to hit. They are now, as you see last year, 23-4 in college football. This year, they have taken them down to 18-6, which is the same distance as the NFL. The biggest difference, I think, however, is that the hash marks are still where they were in college football. So it makes for an extreme angle from time to time. And I think you'll see as the season develops, more coaches going for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2. They will not have a sure thing as they had the last couple of years with kicking the football.
Well, I know it didn't bother CU place kicker Jim Harper all that much last week. He hit a 40-yarder against Wyoming.
Well, he's got a good leg and a guy that, again, when he hits the ball well, more times than not, he's going to make it.
All right, CU against Baylor. We'll come right back. We'll talk about the series between these two teams down through the ages.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Samsonite, a proud company for Colorado, and also by Subway Shops, by Coors Light, by Express Mail, and by First Federal Bank.
The day may come when travelers don't care how much their luggage weighs. But for now, there's the Samsonite Lightweight. It's 25% lighter than the average soft-side suitcase. Because at least in the immediate future, the weight of the luggage you carry can still be a matter of some gravity. Samsonite, our strengths are legendary.
Get on, get on, get on. Get on, excitement. The all-new Pontiac Bonneville.
A new way to ride.
More than a work of art, an engineering masterpiece. with the stability of four-wheel independent suspension and the accuracy of anti-lock brakes. The art of excitement, the science of control. The all-new Pontiac Bonneville. Get on the Pontiac!
See your neighborhood Colorado Pontiac dealer.
Living room looking a little too lived in? Don't just clean it. Coit it. Coit, the world's most experienced cleaners of draperies, carpets, and upholstery.
Call Coit now and save 20% on drapery cleaning, 25% on carpet cleaning, or get 30% off when you order both cleaning jobs at the same time. Written guarantee included.
So next time you're seeing spots, remember, don't just clean it. Coit it.
Call Coit now and get up to 30% off.
Coit. When you want it spotless.
Pennzoil. At home in America. Charlotte, North Carolina. NASCAR, USA. This is where they build race cars and the engines that power them. And those engines, they don't come cheap. So what motor oil goes in this race car? The same straight-off-the-shelf Pennzoil quality that goes in your car. You know the one. Pennzoil. Ever since America learned to drive.
Folsom Field in Boulder. That's CU head coach Bill McCartney getting ready to lead his troops onto the field against the Baylor Bears, a team that many people are picking to win the Southwest Conference title this year. Ralphie about to be let loose. Well, the series between these two schools has not been a long nor a rich one. They haven't met a whole lot in the past, just 6 times. The last time in the 1986 Blue Bonnet Bowl, Baylor got the win, but it was a benchmark game for CU and head coach Bill McCartney because it was the first bowl game McCartney took this CU squad to in his reign here as head coach in Boulder. The last time in Boulder for Baylor was 1973. The Buffs won that game in a rout, 52-28. The man sitting right next to me, Dave Logan, played in that game. What do you remember from that one, Dave?
Well, that's a good many years ago, Les, to tell you the truth. But I remember we threw the ball and got off to, I think, a fairly quick start. And from that point on, it was tough for Baylor to come back.
Here comes Ralphie.
I do, however, remember Grant Tapper was the head coach. I think that was his second year at Baylor. He is still there.
That's Ralphie 3. Buffalo that first stepped onto Folsom Field in 1987. And it's another sold-out crowd here at Folsom Field. Last week, the first home opener ever sold out, and every game this year. Except for the Kansas game, November 16th. We've got a gorgeous day here in Boulder. Temperatures 78 degrees, the wind out of the south at 10 miles an hour, and it's going to stay nice for the rest of the day. Right now, the captains for both teams on the field for the coin toss. And Baylor will receive the opening kickoff. In case you don't know much about this institution, it is the oldest institution of higher learning in Texas, established in 1845. Baylor has 12,000 students, roughly half the size of CU here in Boulder. Baylor colors are green and gold. Got quite a few Baylor fans in the stands here. Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, a little bit. They are football crazy down in Texas. I can tell. I don't think I've ever seen a team walk onto the field. The entire Baylor team, with their hands in the air, walked onto the playing field.
Baylor is in Waco, Texas, right in the heartland of Texas, about 200 miles south of Dallas. Here are your starting lineups for Baylor on offense. The quarterback will be J.J. Joe. Keep your eye on the fullback, Robert Strait. He went for 112 yards last week against Utah. You've got David Mims at tailback. The X-back, or the wing-back, as CU likes to call it, is Melvin Bonner. The receivers are Reggie Miller and Alonzo Pierce. Up front for Baylor, Adam Arroyo, John Turnpaw, Scott Barron, Monty Jones, and Craig Bellamy. Now let's take a look at the CU defense. A very good defense. A defense that held Wyoming to just 13 points last week in a 30-13 win, the season opener. Up front, the Buffs have Brian Dyatt, Joel Steed, a preseason All-American pick, and Leonard Renfro. The linebackers, Ronnie Woolfolk, Greg Biekert, who led the Big 8 in tackles last year, Richard Fisher, and Chad Brown, who played inside last year, moved to the outside this year. The defensive secondary, a very, very tough one. Deion Figures, Ronnie Bradford, Eric Hamilton, and the leader of that secondary, Greg Thomas. Hard hitters.
Kind of interesting. Colorado won the toss, but deferred to the second half, and therefore Baylor will get the first opportunity. I think that goes a long way in saying what Bill McCartney really feels the strength of this team is. He wants that defense on the field as soon as he can get them there.
Kicking off for the Buffs will be Mitch Berger, sophomore out of Canada, junior college transfer. And to receive it for Baylor, number 1 is Lee Miles, and number 19 is Reggie Miller. A short kick held up by the wind. It is taken by Miller, and he's brought down immediately at right about his 20-yard line. Deion Figures did the bringing down. So a short kick, but Baylor starts with it where they might have started with it if it was a longer kick back into the end zone. The two head coaches on your left, Bill McCartney and Grant Taft for Baylor. Taft has been at Baylor 20 years now. McCartney at CU in his 10th year with about another 14 to go. The handoff goes to David Mims. He picks up about 3 yards.
What we talked about, a Baylor up front is a very, very strong team. Both guards are over 290 pounds, and they're a team that likes to run the veer offense. They'll punish you inside with a big fullback in Robert Strait, and J.J. Joe, the quarterback, is the guy that makes it work once he gets to the perimeter. Grant Taft said he's the best he's seen at making the right decision.
3 running backs lined up behind Joe. It's 2nd and 6. This is the option. He goes to Mims, and Mims goes down at the 27. Chad Brown, the tackle. Chris Hudson also in there. Freshman redshirt for the Buffs. It'll be 3rd and 3 for Baylor from the CU 27. Joe calls timeout.
I think there's a penalty. I think Craig Bellamy may have moved a little bit, the offensive right tackle, and that's going to cost Baylor 5 yards.
Well, you're right on that. That'll send them back to their own 22-yard line. The officials for today's game, your referee is John Laurie, John Gaston the umpire, head linesman Don Caprell, Darrell Lewis, Willie Weisbrook, Bill Brown, and Garland Old. So Baylor from its own 22. It's 3rd down and 8. Joe wants to throw. He's got his man Lee Miles over the middle for a first down. Across the CU 40-yard line to the 42 before Chris Hudson brings him down.
Lee Miles has great speed. He's the fastest Baylor Bear. World-class speed, they say, and this basically just a hook. You can see Figures got turned around. Play action fake. The offense is very similar in a lot of ways to Colorado.
Lee Miles, very tiny by football standards. 5'6", 158 pounds. 1st and 10 from the Baylor 42. This is Mims up to the 44. Greg Biekert, the tackle.
What a great job that time by Joel Steed. He got to the fullback, Robert Strait, almost before Strait was out of his stance and forced Mims to bounce to the left. Baylor, again, is a team that they really believe they can line up and knock anybody off the ball, whether it be Colorado, Texas, or other fine teams in the country, and they've got the size to do it.
2nd and 8 for Baylor. From the 44. Joe keeps it cross midfield and yet some more down to the CU 37-yard line. Greg Beekert finally catches up with him, as does Eric Hamilton.
Well, Colorado defensively came into this game thinking they had to stop the fullback, and so far Robert Strait has not carried the football. And again, we told you about J.J. Joe and the ability he has to run the option. That time an excellent job ball faking the force man. You'll see Strait with the fake. Now watch the ball fake by Joe there as he freezes Chad Brown, and then he's nimble enough once he gets into the secondary, he'll make some folks miss.
I don't know if you noticed, but 3 CU Buffs went after Robert Strait when he came up the middle. That's how much they fear that fullback, and that opened things up for J.J. Joe. This time it goes to Strait. He's inside the 35, down to about the 33. A host of Buffs, including Chad Brown, in on the tackle. Richard Fisher was there. Joel Steed. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Robert Strait, in case you're unaware of how high school football is played in Texas, gained over 8,000 yards in his high school career. Had 52 touchdowns in one season. Not bad.
Joe up the middle. Intercepted by Greg Thomas. Greg Thomas picks it up for the Buffs. It looked like J.J. Joe just lost the handle.
But the ball fake to the fullback is designed to hold the linebackers. You'll see Strait, arms over the ball. Joe will pull it back. He just overthrows Pierce. If you get the ball up a little bit, that has a chance to be a completion. Thomas made a nice interception there from his free safety spot. And again, watch the tight end right side. The ball fake now. Get the ball up a little bit. You got a chance. But Joe tries to drill it, and a great interception by Greg Thomas.
Greg Thomas, the 6'2", 220-pound senior out of California. He's a Jim Thorpe candidate this year, the award given to the best defensive back in the nation. So CU has the ball at its own 24. It's 1st and 10 with Darian Hagan at quarterback. And he wants to come out throwing deep. But Hagan loses the handle on that pass. The intended receiver, the speedy Rico Smith.
And I think you're seeing right from the start the respect Bill McCartney has for that Baylor defense. Baylor the last 3 years has led the Southwestern Conference, or the Southwest Conference, in total defense. And they figure to be better this year. You see Nebraska leading CSU in Lincoln 7-0.
2nd and 10 for the Buffs. This goes to the fullback, James Hill. Not much room to roam there. He's stacked up at about the 27. Ryan Hand, the tackle. Well, the Buffs last week had trouble getting it going on offense until Darian Hagan took over, running the ball and returning punts. It's going to be hard to be a one-man wrecking crew against this Baylor team, though. Darian's going to need some help this week. 3rd and 7 from their own 27, the Buffs. And we have some flags on the field.
It's got to be against Baylor. Hagan doing a good job of adjusting the snap count.
You're absolutely right.
When you've got a veteran defensive line, a line that really feels they can overwhelm a young offensive line, they are raring to go. They're down in a 3-point stance, and they like to get going quickly, and Baylor certainly does.
Well, it's a CU Buffs offense you might not be all that familiar with outside of Hagan and Leuenberg at center, because they don't have Joe Garton, Ariel Solomon, Mark Vanderpool, Mike Pritchard, Eric Bieniemy, George Hemingway. All staples of last year's fine team that won the national championship. 3rd and 2 for the Buffs. Hagan on the option and dragged down for a loss of about 4 yards. Robin Jones, the fine left defensive end for Baylor, Makes the tackle, and the Buffs are going to have to punt for the first time today.
Darian Hagan thought about turning it up right there and probably should have. If you see Jones fighting off the block, Robin Jones was a first-team All-Southwest Conference player last year, and again, up front, Baylor is going to be a load.
Mitch Berger, the punting duty for CU. He gets off a long, high kick, and a fair catch is called for by Lee Miles. So Baylor will start with it at its own 25. No score at Folsom Field. We'll be right back.
I hope when people see Subway, bells go off and they think, good sandwich. We don't deep fry or freeze dry. Everything's fresh. Each morning I slice tomatoes, onions. I even bake the bread. These days people think a lot about what food to eat. Nothing's more honest than a good sandwich. So if the body's a temple, this is the place to come when a temple gets hungry.
For 25 years, Subway has quietly made some of the best sandwiches anywhere, starting at $1.69. For more information, visit the Subway near you.
In the spirit of the Olympic Games, the Postal Service would like to present two-day priority mail. That's delivery in just 2 days of up to 2 pounds for just $2.90. Remember, 2 days, 2 pounds, $2.90. 2-day priority mail from your Postal Service. We deliver for you. Official sponsor of the 1992 Olympic Games.
Not long ago, we asked Toyota truck owners with 100,000 miles to tell us their story. And they did, by the thousands. The letters kept coming from all over the country. From satisfied ranchers, electricians, park rangers, firefighters, over 14,000 of them. Each one a 100,000-mile truck story. That adds up to 1.4 billion truck miles. And the letters keep coming. I love what you do for me, Toyota.
A couple of young CU fans, they're riding the wave of an 11-game winning streak for the Buffs. The best winning streak, the longest winning streak in the nation in Division I. And the Buffs have won 15 straight at home. In the ballgame now on defense for CU is number 97, Marcellus Elder on the defensive line. Baylor's ball. 1st and 10. This is Mims trying to turn it outside, but nowhere to go, and there's a flag on the field.
And I think you've got a wide receiver for Baylor caught holding there. Melvin Bonner, the X-back. Wide receivers, of course, try to get in the way of a defensive back, but you can't grab hold of their jersey. You can see Bonner right there had both hands full.
You can't grab hold of the jersey?
Well, you can. You just can't do it when the guy's running with the football right behind you.
I see.
You've got to be discreet when you hold.
Now the officials bringing that ball back to the 19-yard line.
Mistakes will really play, I think, a key role in this game because neither offense looks to be able to make an abundance of big plays against their opponent's defense. Defensive football is the name of the game here this afternoon, and mistakes usually play a key role in that kind of game.
Right now, CU's defense with the advantage. It's 1st and 19. Baylor tries to go up the middle and stuffed for another loss of 3 yards.
Boy, Greg Beekert, you see with the tackle, nobody touches Beekert. This is a draw play, but it takes way too long to develop. And Mims, Joel Steed and Greg Beekert read him about 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Beekert, the junior out of Longmont. As we told you earlier, he led the Big 8 in tackles. What a game he had against Illinois last year. 19 solo tackles. 2nd and 16 for Baylor. 2nd and 19, excuse me. And that pass incomplete, intended for Miles. Ronnie Bradford was there on the coverage.
J.J. Joe started 4 games last year as a freshman. Broke his hand and obviously didn't finish the season. But again, Grant Teff really likes this youngster's abilities.
Last week against UTEP, Joe completed 8 of 14 passes for 90 yards. He's just a sophomore. 3rd and 19 from their own 16-yard line. J.J. Joe directing his wide receiver to go to the other end of the line of scrimmage. And another flag on the field. Did they take too much time, Dave?
I think so.
So as the student section might say, push him back, even further back. It'll be 3rd and 24
and again,
for Baylor.
Excuse me, with two defensive teams like this, you can say, well, even if we don't complete this and pick up the first down, we line up and punt. But yes, you lose field position here. Baylor has gone backwards on this second possession, 4th penalty of the game for the Bears.
3rd and 24 from their own 11-yard line. They're staying conservative. They try to run it up the middle, and Baylor will give the ball up here. Leonard Renfro, the tackle that time. And Renfro comes off the field with arms raised, and the fans respond to him. Back to punt is Kent Brenton for Baylor, and returning it, Darian Hagan. Head coach Bill McCartney criticized a lot for putting his quarterback and the most important man on his offense back to return punts, but it certainly worked in their favor last week. Hagan will field this one at his own 44. And he goes down inside the 30-yard line. He would have had quite a bit more if he didn't stumble. Darian Hagan came into the game averaging 19 yards of punt return. And we'll be right back.
It's the September Summit Sale at your Jeep and Eagle dealer, and it's a super time to save on an Eagle Summit. Get the spacious 3-door for slightly less than 7,000 Smackers, or a sensible 4-door for slightly more than 7,900 Simoleons. You could save even more with factory-to-dealer incentives. Plus, scope out the new Summit wagon with air at no extra charge. So scramble over to your dealer and save during the September Summit Sale.
See your local Jeep Eagle dealer.
Because if you don't watch your figure, who will?
It's the right feeling now.
Because when it comes to water, the only place to start is at the top.
It's the right feeling now.
Because when the party's going full steam, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the beer that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet.
CU fans, you can now own a piece of Colorado football history. This 100% wool limited edition blanket commemorates the 1990 national champion Colorado Golden Buffaloes for only $29.95. With a percentage of all sales going directly to the university, these 50 by 60-inch blankets can be yours today. Order now. Don't delay. Quantities limited. Call 1-800-858-2002. That's 1-800-858-2002. Call now.
Well, guys that handle the football a lot usually are adept at catching it. Darian Hagan makes a nice catch. Once he sees this hole, watch him explode through here. And Mabry, the youngster, just taps his heel. Hagan, I think, would have scored had it not been for an outstanding play by Charles Mabry.
A 28-yard punt return for Hagan. And the Buffs call a timeout. They are situated at the Baylor 29-yard line. It's 1st and 10. The Buffs with their best field position of the afternoon. We've got 7:54 to go in the first quarter. The score is 0-0. So look at Greg Thomas, the towel over his head, has an interception today already, and Darian Hagan on the sideline talking with his offensive coordinator, Gary Barnett. Sunday nights are your sports night here on Channel 4. Immediately following the News 4 Late Edition at 10:35, it's the Bill McCartney Show, featuring the coach himself along with the man next to me, Dave Logan. They'll bring you all the highlights and analysis of today's game. And then it's Sports Extra with Gary Miller, who brings you the very best of the week in sports. It all starts at 10:35 this Sunday, following the News 4 Late Edition. Darian Hagan, 5th in the Heisman voting last year. You have to consider him a candidate this year also. James Hill gets it. Stacked up at about the 27, 28-yard line. We'll see where the placement is.
Colorado looking for their initial first down of the game. James Hill, a tailback at Whitefield, thinks like a tailback but runs like a fullback, and he's a guy that I think before he's done may be the best fullback in Bill McCartney's tenure, and there have been some good ones.
Last week Hill went for 48 yards and a touchdown. 2nd and 7. Hill gets it again inside the 25 down to the 23. Santana Dotson, the preseason All-American defensive lineman for Baylor, made the tackle. In Lincoln, Nebraska, the Cornhuskers doing a number on the Rams right now, 10-0. They are still in the first quarter. Hagan, of course, coming off that horrendous knee injury, a torn patellar tendon he suffered at the Orange Bowl in Miami, New Year's Day. But it looks like he's made a full and complete recovery. He's certainly running like it. 3rd and 5. The yellow flags fall. And it's going to be a delay of game on the Buffs, so that'll send them back 5 yards.
Delay game. Offense. 3rd down.
Didn't look like Hagan was aware at all of the clock. He was changing the play at the line of the scrimmage, moving a couple of players to other positions, and didn't seem to be overly concerned. You can see Bill McCartney there talking to Mike Berry. I can guarantee he's concerned when you lose 5 yards with this field position.
It's 3rd and 10. The Buffs put 2 wide receivers out. Number 9 is Charles Johnson, and number 25 is Mark Henry. And Hagan is looking for him. He finds Henry on the sideline, down to the 16-yard line. And that should be a first down.
Darian Hagan will get 2 nice blocks. The left side of your screen. One there by the fullback. Also an excellent block. I believe that's James Hill, but this is a rope. And Henry with a good job of catching it. You need only 1 foot in college football in bounds. Hagan on the run with the rocket. You can see the left foot in bounds. Nice catch by Mark Henry.
1st and 10 for the Buffs on the Baylor 16. James Hill dances his way through down to the 10-yard line. Call it a gain of 6. Nice move by James Hill.
I'll tell you, if I were an official, I would want to work a game that there are going to be a lot of passes thrown, not option football. James Hill breaks the line of scrimmage, spins, continues, and watch the official, the left side of your screen, just get run over. There's a lot of action in this kind of game right between the hash marks, and that, of course, where one official has to stand.
I think if I was an official, I'd wear some padding. I don't see any padding on any of these guys. A lot of big bodies running around there.
I'll tell you, I'd like to work BYU and Florida State or somebody that throws the ball 50 times a game.
There might be a problem with one of the stadium clocks right now, the 25-second clock. The officials were trying to hash that out. And now that they have, it'll be 2nd and 4 for the Buffs from the Baylor 10-yard line. The best chance all day to put some points on the board for CU. Hill again pulls his way down to the 6. On the sideline, a former Buff, J.J. Flanagan. Fine running back. He's still hanging around Boulder. Comes to all the home games. In fact, I've seen him on some of the away games, too. There's an official timeout on the field. They're going to measure for a first down here. See if the Buffs have picked it up. And you can tell from the roar of the crowd, the Buffs have. So it'll be 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. The Buffs bring in some fresh players, including running back Chuck Snowden out of Boulder, Fairview High School. It's a stacked backfield, 3 running backs lined up behind Hagan. It goes to the first man through, Hill, who is inside the 5. Gain of maybe 2. Seemed like the whole Baylor defensive line was in on that tackle.
Make that defense take your fullback out of the game. Don't do it for them. And you've seen CU really establish James Hill here in the first quarter. That eventually will open the perimeter game for the Buffs. Hagan will be able to get to the corner. He'll be able to pitch the ball to the trail man, but you want to make sure that defense stays at home inside, and you do that with your fullback.
Keep in mind, as you watch James Hill pound away, he has a chronic ankle sprain. Fumble on the play. And the Baylor Bears say they have it. Let's see what the officials say. Yes, Baylor on a miscommunication between the center, Jay Leuenberg, and the quarterback, Darian Hagan.
Well, Leuenberg thought it was on one, evidently, and he was the only player in the team. Watch the center snap, and he takes off. Nobody else has moved, and obviously Hagan wasn't ready for the football. Ball's on the ground and a lot of white shirts around it. Jay Leuenberg must have thought that was on the first sound. Heard it, snapped it, took off, but nobody else was ready for the play.
Curtis Hafford ended up with the ball for Baylor. So the Buffs blow their first good opportunity to score some points here. It's still 0-0. We've got 4:33 to go in the first quarter. Well, we expected something like this. The strengths of these two teams, their defenses. And that's exactly what we have, a defensive battle. Baylor has the ball at its own 3-yard line. It's 1st and 10. The give to Robert Strait. Gets it to the 5. Beekert there to handle him.
Well, Strait's got the biggest pads I think I've ever seen. He looks like a fullback, doesn't he?
Touchdowns in 9 straight games for that young man. There's the Dell Ward Center. Adding a new dimension to Folsom Field. 92,000 square feet. It costs $12 million to put up. Houses weight rooms, training rooms, a cafeteria, the coaches' offices. The pitch goes to Mims. And he gets nowhere. Leonard Renfro and Richard Fisher stop him.
Renfro does a great job of staying home. Watch Mims try to put a move on Renfro, number 99, bottom of the screen, too far away from him. Cuts back, and the big fella stays right there and grabs him with those big arms. Leonard Renfro, in his freshman year, was considered to be the best defensive lineman the Buffs had. Now, as a redshirt sophomore, he's going to get plenty of playing time.
Renfro out of Detroit, a communications major here at CU. It's 3rd and 8 for the Bears. J.J. Joe complete to Reggie Miller up at the 15-yard line. Tate Nelson there on the coverage. And Baylor gets itself out of some trouble with a 1st down pass completion. Joel Steed playing nose tackle for the Buffs, number 93, right in the middle of that defensive line, playing with a broken hand, we should mention. He's rotating with Jeff Bruner. 1st and 10. Baylor up to the 18-yard line. It was David Mims again. David Mims getting quite a bit of work here in the early going. We thought we'd see Robert Strait getting the bulk of the load for Baylor. Maybe that's the game plan for Baylor, however. Get everybody focusing on Mims. Second and 8 for Baylor from its own 17-yard line. 2 receivers spread out wide right. But the give goes to Mims once again up to the 20. The ball is loose, but I think the play was called dead. Joel Steed makes the tackle.
There's Mike Berry, the offensive line coach of the Buffs, trying to figure out exactly what Baylor's doing up front. Bears play a 4-man defensive line. Most teams in the Big 8 Conference will go with a 3-4. So it's different. Plus, he's got an extremely young and inexperienced crew.
Third and 5 for Baylor. 3 wide receivers in the game for the Bears now. They're going to run it. It's Mims, and he's got room. He gets around the corner and finally run out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Another Baylor first down. Good pursuit by the CU linebackers, or he could have broken that one all the way.
Gee, you always have to be aware of the personality of the team you're playing, and 3rd and 5 is a running down for Baylor. That time a draw. A draw should not confuse this defense. You see Mims still down by the CU bench. But 3rd and 5, even when you're in the I formation, you figure Baylor has got to run the ball most times.
Well, we've got 1:24 to go in the first quarter. Still no points on the board. CU 0, Baylor 0. We'll be right back.
I hope when people see Subway, bells go off and they think, good sandwich. We don't deep fry or freeze dry. Everything's fresh. Each morning I slice tomatoes, onions. I even bake the bread. These days people think a lot about what food to eat. Nothing's more honest than a good sandwich. So if the body's a temple, this is the place to come when the temple gets hungry.
For 25 years, Subway has quietly made some of the best sandwiches anywhere, starting at $1.69. For more information, visit the Subway near you.
It's here. Ford's factory authorized clearance. The best savings of the year on every Ford truck in stock. Ford's factory authorized clearance. Low financing on all Ford trucks. 4x2s and 4x4s. Ford's factory authorized clearance. Tremendous cash discount. Up to $1,000 on Ranger, F-Series, and Aerostar. $1,500 on Ford Bronco. Ford's factory authorized clearance. The biggest cash incentives and the best prices on all Ford trucks. Ford's factory authorized clearance. Happens once a year, and this is it.
This town is sending more people to the 1992 Olympic Games than the U.S. and Russia combined. It's the home of Olsen Travel World. They rush out thousands of tickets to the Olympic Games by express mail guaranteed overnight service. Express mail picks up unlimited packages for one low charge.
Morning, John. Morning.
Which saves Olsen money as they prepare America's other 1992 hopefuls.
Here we come.
You see Mims being run out of bounds after picking up the first down. He actually takes it out of bounds himself and then gets rolled over a little bit. But he's all right. He walked off after Hamilton nailed it.
Craig Stevens in the ballgame for Mims. J.J. Joe being pressured by Ronnie Wolforth, but he gets away. And he throws the ball complete to the 41-yard line to Lee Miles with a penalty flag down.
He may have been past the line of scrimmage when he let that thing go. Illegal man downfield.
So the play will be called back. There's your score, 0-0 first quarter. We've got 1:16 to go at Folsom Field. Look at J.J. Joe, 5'11", 178-pound sophomore. The ball is set back at the Baylor 31-yard line. It'll be 1st and 15 for the Bears. Well, Baylor the other night, Thursday night, saw one of its brethren in the Southwest Conference, Houston, take a beating at the hands of Miami.
Boy, that was a whooping, too, wasn't it? 40-10.
1st and 15 for Baylor. Robert Strait crawls over some black shirts up to the 33-yard line. Call it a gain of 2. Joel Steed, along with Richard Fisher, there to make the tackle.
Pretty good indication how strong Robert Strait is. He's also big at 245 pounds. Greg Biekert met him right in the hole. Biekert on the ground, however, when the contact came, and Strait ran right over him.
2nd and 13. We're under the 1-minute mark in the first quarter. J.J. Joe, the option. That ball is batted down by Chris Hudson. A nice play because the wide receiver, Lee Miles, was wide open for Baylor on the sideline. But Hudson got a hand on it.
I'll tell you who else is open. Melvin Bonner, the X-back, on the drag top of your screen is all by himself, but nice athletic play by Hudson. See Miles with his hands in the air. J.J. Joe, although an accurate passer, is not a guy that you want to have to throw the football 25 to 30 times a game. Colorado defensively in the secondary, it may be the best secondary they've ever had.
All right, 3rd and 13 for Baylor from its own 33. And a good rush put on. Joe sets up the screen, incomplete. Give credit to Chris Hudson for making Joe get rid of the ball a lot sooner than he wanted. Eric Hamilton, Ronnie Bradford also in there pressuring the quarterback.
Well, option teams have trouble less in 3rd and long situations because they don't pick up the blitz well. You'll see Hudson and Hamilton get to J.J. Joe just as he sets up to throw the screen. 2 defensive backs in on top of the quarterback, and Colorado had planned to blitz Baylor for that simple reason. They do not pick up blitzes very well. They like to run the ball, keep in short yardage situations.
Brenton the punt from back at his own 20. Darian Hagan to run it back. Last time Darian touched it, a 28-yard return from his own 26. Maybe 4 yards on the return. Sean Cravens gets his arms around Hagan's ankles, brings him down. A 4-yard return, a 41-yard punt. 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Awfully choppy on offense from both sides. Remember, it's a very young, inexperienced offensive line for CU. 1st and 10 from their own 30. And flags on the field. Hagan throws the pass complete to Mark Henry, but it's not going to count.
Middle of that Baylor line once again jumped. And Lewinberg, the center, has the green light. Once he feels somebody in the neutral zone, he just snaps it. Doesn't even have to wait for Hagan to make the correct snap count. Santana Dotson, the All-American candidate, number 77, offside.
If the name Dotson rings a bell, Santana's father, Alphonse Dotson, played for the Raiders. He's a Lombardi Trophy nominee. Got a few pretty good linemen in this game. Joel Steed for CU on defense, Jay Lewinberg for CU on offense, and Dotson.
Also Robin Jones, first team All Southwest Conference last year. 6'4", 270. Baylor is not short on size.
So it's 1st and 5 for the Buffs from their own 35. Over the middle, the quick one to Sean Brown, the tight end. Brought down at the 48-yard line. First down, CU. Brian Hand brings him down.
Sean Brown has turned into Darian Hagan's favorite receiver, and he's someone you have to be aware of in the Buff offense. Just a delay route. You block 1, block 2, then release inside. Hand has pretty good coverage, but just can't stay with him. And the Buffs pick up their 3rd first down.
Clock winding down, 5 seconds to go in the first quarter. Let's see if CU, yes, they do try and get off a play. The pitch to Kent Call. He's got some room. Across the 45, down to the 42-yard line of Baylor. And that is the end of the first quarter. CU on the move. The score 0-0 at Folsom Field.
A lot of folks do their sprucing up this time of year. Fixing up the house, picking out a new car, or just cleaning up old bills. First Federal Bank can help with a consumer loan. They're as near as your phone or one of 20 Colorado branches with some of the lowest loan rates and fees in the area. So why not polish up your piece of Colorado with a consumer loan from First Federal Bank? Since 1885, First Federal, Colorado's convenient consumer bank.
I'll recommend GMC to anybody. I think it's still the best truck money will buy.
My Sierra truck is 4-wheel drive. It's the extended cab. It's been just an absolutely fantastic truck.
And now, during show and sell, get the absolute lowest prices of the year on every 91 GMC truck in stock. Plus, with cash back to $1,500, you can save even more at your Colorado GMC truck dealers.
Covering Colorado 24 hours a day. Colorado's news channel is Colorado's news leader. The News 4 Late Edition, number 1 at 10.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Grease Monkey, by Europtics, and by State Farm Insurance, all proud companies for Colorado, and also by Subway Shops and by Coors Original.
Look at the stats from the first quarter. First downs, no decided edge there. Yards rushing, Baylor with about twice as many as CU. And the passing yards are about equal. The most important stat of the day, it's 0-0 on the scoreboard at the start of the second quarter. The Buffs and Darian Hagan with the ball at the Baylor 43. Hagan the quick out to Charles Johnson. He's inside the 40 to about the 38. Charles Johnson out of San Bernardino, California, a sophomore for the Buffs.
Interesting call, second and short. That will be one that future opponents of the Buffs will have to look at.
Here's your CSU score in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Cornhuskers leading the Rams 17-0, and we understand CSU has already pulled starting quarterback Kevin Verdugo. Hagan up the middle, inside the 30, down to the 27-yard line before Frankie Smith trips him up.
Well, we talked about establishing the fullback. It holds that interior defense. This time Hagan pulls it back. And you can see again, he has tremendous explosive ability. Frankie Smith from the weak safety spot has to almost leg whip him to get him down. Otherwise, Hagan is into the end zone. You run that fullback for the first quarter. You soften that defensive line. Those two inside linebackers, in this case, only one in the 4-3, start to look for the fullback. And that one hesitation allows the lineman to seal him inside, and you can get to the perimeter.
Well, you see Marcus Lowe of Baylor slow in getting up. He'll come to the sideline, sit out a play or two. Hagan picks up the first down for the Buffs. So it's 1st and 10 at the Baylor 26-yard line. Kent Call and James Hill, the running backs, in for CU. In motion, Rico Smith. Hagan's looking up the middle, wide open. That's Sean Brown. Will he get in? Yes. CU touchdown.
Week against Wyoming, Darian Hagan missed this very same route for a touchdown to Sean Brown. He could not have placed this football any better. Hagan over the top of a bear. Nice catch by Brown. Now watch Rico Smith, the right side of your screen, just enough to get Brown into the end zone.
Extra point attempt by Jim Harper is good. So the Buffs draw first blood. 7-0 CU. 14:27 to go in the first half. We'll be right back at Folsom Field.
I hope when people see Subway, bells go off and they think, good sandwich. We don't deep fry or freeze dry. Everything's fresh. Each morning I slice tomatoes, onions. I even bake the bread. These days people think a lot about what food to eat. Nothing's more honest than a good sandwich. So if the body's a temple, this is the place to come when the temple gets hungry.
For 25 years, Subway has quietly made some of the best sandwiches anywhere, starting at $1.69. For more information, visit the Subway near you.
Save big bucks during Chesron's Land of the Giant sale. Giant discounts, giant savings, giant deals, and that applies to our entire $10 million worth of new and used car and truck inventory. Giant deals like these. Take your pick from either a new 91 Chevy Cavalier or a new Chevy truck, just $69.99. Or maybe you're in the market for a sporty Geo Storm. Giant sale priced at just $77.99. Find out how little it costs to drive away in a new set of wheels from the land of the Giants. That's Chevron Chevrolet, the affordable way at I-25 and the Baylor exit.
On my first job back in the 60s, I traveled out west a lot. The only place original Coors was sold, which made me a very popular guy. Here's Steve swapping me his old stereo for a case. I think he took me. I used to bring Coors back in my trunk. It was like home delivery, fresh from the Rockies. Ta-da! After I got married, I changed jobs, but not beers. Hey, the best things in life never change.
Hagan with the touchdown throw. Watch the inside linebackers of the Baylor Bears initially as they slide to Kent Call. The fake, and now a good job by Hagan up and over. That's Lachey Maston, who just can't quite catch it. Rico Smith gets in the way of a couple of Baylor Bears, and Sean Brown caps a 5-play, 70-yard drive that took only 53 seconds.
We've seen Darian Hagan now a couple times throwing very, very well on the run to complete a pass. Mitch Berger is kicking off for CU. Lee Miles and Reggie Miller back to receive it. Berger last week put a couple right through the end zone. No chance for a return. Baylor takes it 2 yards deep and will go with it. That's Miles. Knocked down at about the 13-yard line. Spencer Coulter was there. Coulter, a senior out of Tempe, Arizona for the Buffs. A special teams standout. This kid's turning out to be a standout for them too. Mitch Berger. Very, very strong leg. The latest in the legacy of punters who can boom them here in Folsom Field. Good look at the man who scored the touchdown, the only touchdown of the day, Sean Brown, the CU tight end. It's 7-0. We're still very early in the second quarter. Another sold-out crowd at CU. As I said before the game started, every game this year sold out here except for the Kansas game November 16th. So if you want some tickets, that's the one to shoot for. The crowd bringing it up a few decibels, trying to help out the CU defense, trying to pin Baylor back even further. The Bears at their own 13. The pitch is to Mims. Up to the 14. A 1-yard gain. Greg Beekert the tackle.
The problem Baylor will have if they fall too far behind in this game is the same as Colorado has experienced over the last few years. They're an option team. They're a running team. They're not a club that can come from way behind, at least not very easily. And when you're playing against a great defense like Colorado has, you have to take advantage of every opportunity. You can't drop balls. You can't make bad throws. You certainly can't have penalties if you're going to be successful.
So far, not much success for Baylor. Their own 15. It's 2nd and 8. J.J. Joe keeps it. Nice move to the outside. Run out of bounds at the 36 with a flag on the field. The Baylor folks yelling for a late hit on their quarterback.
Well, they're going to get one, too. Great job of running the option. The fake to the fullback. You can see Chad Brown comes down. Really nobody to option. Straight takes the defense to him. A nice move there by J.J. Joe. And there's Eric Hamilton with the late hit. You have to pull up there. You've got to use good common sense. You cannot go after a guy who's several steps out of bounds. J.J. Joe is a dangerous quarterback. He's out right there. 1, 2. Then they hit in the middle of the back, and they'll get you every time on that, especially in front of the Baylor bench.
So a big gain by Joe and mark off another 15 yards. Baylor now in CU territory at the Buffs' 49-yard line. First and 10 for Baylor. A full house backfield. 3 running backs behind Joe. And it goes to the last man, Mims. He gets nowhere. He was hit first by Leonard Renfro. And then a host of Buffs completed the play. 2nd and 10. Approaching the 13-minute mark in the second quarter. Two wideouts in the game now for Baylor. But the pitch goes to Mims. Cuts back, but it doesn't do him much good. Gain of 2, maybe 3 yards. Marcellus Elder and Chad Brown the tackle.
Terrific job by Chad Brown, who moved from the inside last year to the outside this year. Brown strong at the point of attack. And as an outside linebacker, you have more opportunities, I think, than inside to make big plays. Brown made one last week as he stripped Tom Carranzos, the Wyoming quarterback, of the ball. And he's taken to the outside linebacker very well.
Chad Brown and Greg Bickert, unheralded linebackers, but probably only because the Buffs had 2 All-Americans there last year, Kanavis McGee and Alfred Williams. They're gone, and now Brown and Bickert stepping forward. 3rd and 8 for Baylor. A nice pass to the flat, complete to the tight end. Down to the 25-yard line. Alonzo Pierce made the catch and the run. It's the deepest Baylor's been all day in CU territory.
Pierce goes in motion, and CU gambled and lost. You see Eric Hamilton, number 6, blitz from the safety spot, and Greg Thomas just a little late getting over to cover the tight end. That time the Buffaloes gambled they can get to J.J. Joe before he reached the defense, and they lost.
1st and 10 at the CU 25. Up the middle is straight. Down to the 21-yard line. Call it a gain of 4.
Last play very tough to make because they send the tight end in motion, Alonzo Pierce. Greg Thomas in the middle of the field from the free safety spot. On the blitz, that's his man. But you've already got a guy running toward the sideline before the play is snapped, and just a perfect call by Baylor.
2nd and 7 for the Bears. 2 wide receivers split out left. Baylor will run it. Mims with a nice hole inside the 20 down to the 17-yard line. He's short of the first down. And Baylor has a hurt man on the field, offensive lineman John Turnpaw.
Big offensive lineman taking on a very good defensive line. You see Straight gets part of Woolfolk. Ronnie bounces back into the play and makes the tackle along with Greg Bickert.
This is Turnpaw getting hurt on the play, number 72. He came off the field under his own power, but holding his left arm, seemingly in a lot of pain. Into the ball game now on the offensive line for Turnpaw is 69 David Leaks. It's 3rd and 3 for Baylor from the CU 18. The pitch on the reverse. This is Miles. Chad Brown had a shot at him, and Richard Fisher finally brings him down for a loss. A loss of about 6 yards.
Well, what a great job of Chad Fisher. Chad Fisher will be sitting on your couch when this is done. Watch number 34, bottom of the screen. He'll stay home right there. Makes Miles bounce to the outside. Fisher finishes it off, and that's the kind of play that if you're over anxious as an outside linebacker, you chase the play, it results in a touchdown. But a great job by Richard Fisher, the inside linebacker, of cleaning up the play after Brown actually made it.
The field goal attempt. Jeff Ireland for Baylor. This will be a 41-yard try. It's long enough, and it's good enough. Baylor with its first points of the afternoon. CU leads it 7-3. We've got 10:04 to go in the first half.
This picante sauce says it's better than the salsa made in New York City. They don't say how it stacks up against La Victoria. I wonder why. I wonder if it's because La Victoria uses fresh tomatoes, peppers, and onions. I wonder if it's because La Victoria has always made thick, chunky salsa. I wonder if it's because La Victoria flat out tastes better. That's it.
More and more people are switching to La Victoria.
No wonder.
This town is sending more people to the 1992 Olympic Games than the U.S. and Russia combined. It's the home of Olson Travel World. weightlifting? Okay. They rush out thousands of tickets to the Olympic Games by express mail guaranteed overnight service. Express mail picks up unlimited packages for one low charge.
Hey, John. Morning.
Which saves Olsen money as they prepare America's other 1992 hopefuls.
Here we come.
CU fans, you can now own a piece of Colorado football history. This 100% wool limited edition blanket commemorates the 1990 national champion Colorado Golden Buffaloes for only $29.95. With a percentage of all sales going directly to the university, these 50 by 60-inch blankets can be yours today. Order now. Don't delay. Quantities limited. Call 1-800-858-2002. That's 1-800-858-2002. Call now.
Back in Boulder, Les Shapiro and Dave Logan. There you see the important statistics of the afternoon. CU leading Baylor 7-3. With a lot of time to go in the first half. Baylor kicking off after that field goal by Ireland. Eric Mitchell and Charles Johnson to receive it. Charles Johnson grabs it, puts his knee down, so CU will start with it at its own 20-yard line. The Buffs offensive unit scored 30 points against Wyoming last week, but a couple of those touchdowns came late. Put the game out of reach. It took them a while to get into gear, and it's taken them a little bit this afternoon also. One touchdown on the afternoon so far, a Darian Hagan pass to his tight end Sean Brown. First and 10 from their own 20. This is Chucky Snowden. Stays on his feet up to the 24. Shea Maston, the tackle.
Snowden involved in that three-way battle for the starting tailback spot. He's a slasher, breaks a lot of tackles, as does Kent Call. Trying to find somebody to replace Eric Bieniemy and J.J. Flanagan. That's going to take some time.
Well, when Snowden got the chance last year, he did a good job. I remember a game he ran for 74 yards against Iowa State. Hagan to Hill. Knocks a couple of Baylor players down and gets it to the 32-yard line. That's a first down.
Well, Darian Hagan has shown a nice touch here this afternoon, and you'll see Hill line up at fullback, just drift out to the flat. Hagan lofts the ball, and Hill with a one-handed catch. Now watch this. It's kind of like a refrigerator falling down the stairs, and you're on the bottom end of it trying to catch it. Hill just runs over Michael McFarland, who was standing still.
First and 10. Hagan brought down at the line of scrimmage. Santana Dotson and Curtis Hafford got a hold of him. Well, you know, going back to the play before last, James Hill, he doesn't play, or he doesn't look, I should say, like a fullback at 6 feet, 210 pounds, but he certainly plays like one, as you saw him bowl over two Baylor Bears there. It's 2nd and 10 right now. Hagan gives it to the first man through Hill. He's up to the 34. Gain of 2.
Colorado last year averaged over 5 yards per carry for the season. They were under 4 against Wyoming, and once again with the young offensive line, you have to give them time to mature, to feel like they can figure out as to who to block. Sometimes you just, it's all a blur when you're a youngster in that offensive line.
3rd and 9 on their own 34. Mark Henry in motion. And Hagan looking for Rico Smith, but the ball was nowhere near him. Incomplete, so it'll be 4th down. The Buffs bring the punting unit onto the field. Mitch Berger, the punter for CU this year, taking over for Tom Ruin. Berger last week averaged 42 yards a punt. And back to receive for Baylor is number 1, Lee Miles. Berger gets off a long one. Back to the 15. Miles jitterbugs, but doesn't get very far because Tony Senna brings him down at the 22. A 52-yard punt by Berger. And a 7-yard return. Tony Senna, a very valuable member of the CU special teams. Lee Miles, the man who returned that punt, is down on the field getting tended to right now. He had 163 all-purpose yards last week against Utah. Physical education major. Right now he's in bad physical shape. Well, I'd be surprised, Dave, if he got through a whole year without getting hurt at 5'6", 158 pounds.
Not very big. Does a good job catching the football. Senna fights off a block, and I think kind of surprised Miles how quickly he got in there. That looks like he may have jammed his right foot a bit into the turf, but he is up and jogging off the field and with his right shoe off. And we'll wait and see.
Is there a rule in college ball like high school? If you do get hurt, you have to come off the field or you have to come off the court?
No, but when that shoe comes off, you want to come off the field for at least a play.
1st and 10 for Baylor from its own 22.
Yes, there is that rule, by the way. You have to come off for a play.
This is Robert Strait, the fullback. Maybe a yard, maybe 2. Beekert on top of the pile. Also Jeff Bruner.
Robert Strait, 245 pounds as a fullback. When he hits in to the defensive line, that's a lot of beef going in different directions. Strait was a tailback at Cuero High School. I should say in Cuero, Texas.
Well, did you notice, looking at their roster, I believe there was only one player on this roster from outside of Texas. 2nd and 9. Joe complete to the tight end Pierce. Another big catch by Alonzo Pierce. Another flag on the field, and it might be another late hit.
Well, it is going to be a late hit, I believe. Deion Figures and Richard Fisher chasing Alonzo Pierce. And this is one from up here that, at least initially, I would question. Pierce on the drag across the field. Good play action fake by Joe. Now Pierce will turn it up, and when is he out of bounds? And when does he get hit? Now, see, I disagree with that call. I think you got to go ahead and assume he is in bounds. Unless you hear a whistle, I think that's a flag that should not have been thrown. Yes, he was knocked out of bounds, but he was hit when he was running up the field.
I agree with you. He was out of bounds 5 yards before the hit. But it's 1st and 10 for Baylor on its own 47. That's Mims into CU territory. Richard Fisher down on the ground for the Buffs. Looks like he's hurt a bit. There's an official timeout on the field. By the way, this is a split officiating crew. Half from the Big 8, half from the Southwest Conference. I know there was a problem last week, I believe, with the officiating crew. At least a problem as perceived by Wyoming, because it was a Big 8 crew, not one whack official on the field. Bill McCartney talks things over with his defensive back, Deion Figures. The score here is 7-3 CU with 6:50 to go in the first half.
I hope when people see Subway, bells go off and they think, good sandwich. We don't deep fry or freeze dry. Everything's fresh. Each morning I slice tomatoes, onions. I even bake the bread. These days people think a lot about what food to eat. Nothing's more honest than a good sandwich. So if the body's a temple, this is the place to come when the temple gets hungry.
For 25 years, Subway has quietly made some of the best sandwiches anywhere, starting at $1.69. For more information, visit the Subway near you.
Just how realistic is the audio system in the Lexus LS 400? Watch carefully.
What you are about to see is fast, very fast. When the Pennzoil Special is racing at 230 miles per hour at Indy, its engine needs all the protection it can get. And that's what it gets with Pennzoil. The same straight-off-the-shelf Pennzoil quality that goes in your car. On the road or on the racetrack, nothing performs like Pennzoil, because nothing protects like Pennzoil.
Pennzoil, ever since America learned to drive.
Well, they just took linebacker Richard Fisher off the field. John Knutson in his place, a freshman. Baylor gets the ball down to the CU 40-yard line. Ronnie Woolfolk and Greg Beaker at the tackles. Richard Fisher taken off, starting inside linebacker. Looked like an injury to a lower extremity on the right side, possibly a knee. We'll get the word from the CU bench here shortly. CU coaching staff really likes him. The only reason he didn't play last year is because they had All-Americans playing all over the linebacking line. 3rd and 4 for Baylor at the CU 41. J.J. Joe wants desperately to pitch, and when nobody is there, he gets dragged down for a loss by Chad Brown.
Colorado's been hurt the last couple of times by J.J. Joe in the option, but this time into the short side. Chad Brown stays right where he's supposed to be. Did not go for the ball fake. J.J. Joe faked once, faked twice, and finally had to eat it.
Well, CU with a new punt returner in the game now, Rico Smith.
And CU not with their special teams in the game. The first team defense is in because this is a logical opportunity to fake the punt.
Low snap. Brenton gets it off, but not very well. That ball goes out of bounds very quickly. Let's see where the official marks it. Looks like it's up around the 27-yard line. So a poor kick by Baylor. CU has the ball at its own 27 with 5:20 to go in the first half. That was a punt of 15 yards. We'd like to take that one back. CU with a 7-3 lead. Working on an 11-game winning streak. The longest winning streak in the nation right now in Division I. There's a look at Richard Fisher on the sideline. Hagan keeps up across the 30 to about the 31. 4 yards on the play. Hagan, a fine athlete. He's been drafted twice by Major League Baseball teams. First by Toronto, and then just last year by Seattle. Hagan is a shortstop if he so chooses to play baseball. Right now, he wants to give it a shot at a football career. 2nd and 6. Flags down. Ball goes against CU, and the right tackle, Jim Hansen, junior out of Seattle.
Bill McCartney upset there at the official because Baylor actually jumped first, and then Hansen moved. Once you're down that 3-point stance, you can't move. That's what Bill McCartney, I'm certain, is trying to explain to the side judge.
2nd and 11 for CU from its own 26. Hagan going deep. He's looking for Rico Smith. What a great interception by Clifford Ellison. Hagan hung that ball up. It allowed Ellison to run underneath it. And he went up like a power forward for a rebound.
And this was just a case of Darian Hagan not being able to get the football to a wide open Rico Smith. Got a little bit too much elevation in the ball and came down almost like a punt. And you're right, just a terrific athletic performance by Clifford Ellison. Hagan play action fake, gets enough time to throw it, but gets it too high in the air. And also takes a seat courtesy of Curtis Hampford. That's quite a pick.
Baylor with the ball. 4:20 to go in the first half. CU leads it 7-3. J.J. Joe drops back. Over the middle, overthrown. Intended receiver is Melvin Bonner. The CU defensive backs right now shaking their heads saying we could have had that ball.
And again, that's why it's so important to have good defenses when you have option teams on the other side, because you just can't come from behind too much throwing the football.
Well, News 4 reporter Mark McIntosh is with us today. Let's go down to the field, see what he has.
Quickly, guys, Richard Fisher injured on that last Baylor series. He's got a sprained right knee, will not be back in the ballgame.
The pitch to Mims, gets it across midfield. The officials kind with the marking down to the 47-yard line of CU. Greg Thomas runs him out of bounds. So Baylor's been able to make the big yardage play when they're back far back in their own territory.
Bill McCartney's got to be thinking, excuse me, Les, that we shouldn't allow Baylor to run on us. They're an option team. We see option all day in practice. That time Marcellus Elder just came down a little bit too soon, and Chad Brown was the lone buff on the perimeter.
Joe wants to throw again. Over the middle, same play, this time complete inside the 30-yard line to Steve Stutzman.
Well, when you run the ball the way they've been able to so far in the first half, it really opens things up. And the play action fake, the tight end just crossing from left to right, gets in the middle of the Buff defense, Steve Stutzman. Linebackers, of course, worried about the running game and therefore don't get the necessary drop. And that tight end's been open to the cross all day.
18-yard gain on that last play. Baylor down to the CU 29-yard line. 1st and 10. The give is to Robert Strait. Might have gotten a yard. Joel Steed fell on top of him. And Hagan talking things over with the coaching staff, trying to figure out how we can put more than 7 points on the board. Although right now it's good enough. 3:20 to go in the first half. CU with a 7-3 lead. This crowd awfully quiet. I think it's because Baylor's been able to break the long play here and there, and CU hasn't generated much on offense. 2nd and 9. Well, the CU defense generated some there. Threw Baylor for a loss. John Knutson, who just entered the game this series, made the tackle.
Tough to run a draw, tough to run any kind of lead series against CU, and conversely against Baylor as well, because it takes a long time to develop, and offensive linemen have to stay with their blocks a little bit longer. And against these these two defensive teams, that's going to be tough to do.
3rd and 9 for Baylor. Joe up the middle himself. Down to the 20-yard line. I believe he has the first down. If not, he's very close to it. Chad Brown finally got him, as did Greg Lindsey.
This is a quarterback draw all the way. J.J. Joe doing a nice job. Now, where does the ball hit? Right on the line. Bill McCartney was down on both knees, pounding the ground, saying he slid. There he is again. He was down. And Bill thinks he might have got an extra yard or two after he slid with the football.
Which gave him the first down.
You be the judge. No, he doesn't have a first down. He's down right on the line, which is where the ball should be placed. He's right on the 20-yard line. It's going to be 4th down and about 1. That's actually a good job of spotting by the officials. If he got anything, he got the length of the football.
The Baylor coaching staff right now, as you look at CU head coach Bill McCartney, the Baylor coaching staff right there talking things over, trying to figure out, should we go for it? 4th and 1? Or should we kick the field goal, go the safe way?
I don't think there's any or in this case. I'll be very surprised if Baylor doesn't line up and get it. They've been successful. The offensive line in the first half has done a good job against CU's defense. they're only going to get so many opportunities down here. I think you have to go for it and figure you can knock them out.
2 minutes to go in the first half. J.J. Joe, the Baylor quarterback, has run for 49 yards on just 4 carries. CU having trouble containing him.
You don't think Robert Strait will get the ball here, do you?
245 pounds, I would guess. Let's see what Baylor does.
No.
Joe keeps it. Gets the first down and more down to the CU 11-yard line. Chad Brown, the tackle.
I think the CU defense was thinking the same way that I was. You figure a 245-pound fullback can pick up the yard, but J.J. Joe, adept at running the option, will ride that fullback into the line, and that was a definite keep. That was not a read as Joe pulls it back and gains the first down.
Well, maybe CU was thinking like we were. They were looking at Strait, zeroing in on Strait, and Joe gets the first down. This is Mims. Ooh, racked up quickly. Take your pick. Marcellus Elder, Greg Biekert. CU had that one read perfectly.
Here's why little guys sometimes play other sports. Mims hops into the hole, and then Biekert and Marcellus Elder hop on Mims. A hip and a hop, and nobody got blocked.
2nd and 10 from the CU 12-yard line. 1 minute to go in the half. This time it's to Strait, who pulls his way to the 10. Maybe 2 yards on the play. John Knutson making his presence felt. The young man, the freshman from Great Falls, Montana. Into the game for Richard Fisher, who went off with an ankle sprain. Clock counting down. 25 seconds to go. 3rd and 8 for Baylor at the 10-yard line. Joe tries to spin away, but brought down by Woolfolk at the 9-yard line, along with Marcellus Elder. And it looks like Baylor's, Baylor's going to take a timeout here. Baylor after this with 1 timeout left. 8 seconds to go. It's 4th down.
They see you defensively doing a good job close to the goal line. John Knutson, watch him slide from the inside, and J.J. Joe will try to cut it up right there. There's Knutson, the freshman, making the play. That's what you have to have. You can bend, you can give up some plays, but when they get down into scoring territory, somebody has to step up and make the play, and Knutson did.
So it's 4th down for Baylor on the CU 9-yard line. Baylor to attempt a field goal. Jeff Ireland in the game for the attempt. Last year he was 10 of 15 for Baylor. The year before that he kicked a school record 16 field goals. This one will be a 26-yard attempt. High snap, blocked by CU. And it looks like Greg Thomas might have been the one to get the hand on it. We'll take a look at the replay and tell you for sure.
I'll tell you, the whole interior of the Baylor line just collapsed. Colorado got a great push inside, and you can see the snap is high, but watch the middle part of the Baylor line completely collapsed. Thomas way up in the air. The kick was low, and I think from that angle it may have been Greg Thomas.
Well, I'm sure it had something to do with the high snap. Everything out of sync right from the start for Baylor. 3 seconds left in the first half. CU maintains its 7-3 lead. Chuck Snowden Gets 1 yard, and that is the end of the first half. CU goes into the locker room with a 7-3 lead over the Baylor Bears. A game obviously so far dominated by defense. Two very good defensive units. And as both teams go off, we'll try to get you an interview with at least one of the head coaches. In fact, we have Grant Taft right now down there with Mark McIntosh. Mac?
Thanks so much. We're here with Grant Taft, and up to the point where you got that blocked field goal. It's a pretty good first half for you guys.
Well, we got a high snap on the field goal, and that was what caused the block. We have killed ourselves. Both teams are playing very hard. Both teams are very aggressive. But we've made enough mistakes to last us a lifetime. I don't know if we're just a little tense or what, but we sure made a lot of mistakes that have hurt us. But we've continued to come back, play good defense when we needed to, and then to drive the football. We've driven the ball real well.
A lot of people thought you'd run Robert Strait a lot today. We haven't seen a lot of him. Has that been by design?
Well, your option determines who gets the ball, and they're not going to let Strait have the ball. But you see the quarterback in the back running out there, and that's by design.
It's a warm day. Are you worried at all about your big offensive linemen maybe in the second half getting fatigued at altitude up here?
Well, I don't think so. We're in real good condition, and I think we can play.
Okay, Coach, thanks a lot. Baylor coach Grant Taft. He leaves halftime trailing 7-3 to the Colorado Buffaloes. Back upstairs to lesson day.
Thanks, Mark. We're going to take a commercial right now at halftime. As Mark told you, CU 7-3. We'll be right back.
Judy, there's something I want to ask you.
Jackie. My name is Jackie.
Close. But close just isn't close enough unless you're playing Keno from the Colorado Lottery.
Okay, we can stop if you need to.
Oh, I got it.
We're almost there now.
I got it.
Okay, hold your hands.
Yeah, I got it.
Close. But close just isn't close enough unless you're playing Keno from the Colorado Lottery.
Pizza Hut pepperoni, prepare to get picked on.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
Because now you can get a pepperoni lover's pizza at a very pickable price. Get one for $8.99 or two for just $4 more. With two prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between two heaping portions of cheese, who can resist picking?
Why is everybody always picking on me?
You know why.
If you're a comparison shopper, come to the Isuzu Invitational. At $2,300 off, you might discover that you're a real trooper. Or maybe you'll discover you're a stylish person. And even if you're an impulse buyer, you'll find yourself in for a real pickup. So if you're thinking about a change, be a trooper and hurry to the Isuzu Invitational to compare and save on Isuzu cars and trucks. Or really just save, because with Isuzu, there's no comparison.
It's 4 days of film and fun in Breckenridge. Join us September 22nd through the 29th for the 11th annual Breckenridge Festival of Film. Jeffrey Lyons of Sneak Previews will again host this year's classic fall event. Join us for over 20 features, premieres, documentaries, children's movies, and foreign films, plus parties and informal discussions with the stars. Don't miss this year's opening night feature and gala party. For tickets and information, call the Breckenridge Festival of Film at 453-6200. That's 453-6200.
Watch the McCartney Show Sunday nights at 10:35.
Les Shapiro and Dave Logan, halftime at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. You see the score right there. CU beating the Baylor Bears 7-3. And Dave, you and I talked earlier. We thought it would be a low-scoring game. It's exactly what we're getting.
Well, two outstanding defensive teams, and I think both coaches figured coming in that they wouldn't have that many opportunities to score. Colorado has blown one. They fumbled the snap inside the 10-yard line, I believe, and Baylor, toward the end of the second quarter, blew a pretty good opportunity to get to the end zone. So I think both teams have to be happy with their defense. Colorado has to stop the perimeter game. They've done a good job against Robert Strait, but J.J. Joe and tailbacks have been running wild, and conversely, Baylor, I think, has to keep CU from making big plays. They don't think they can ground it out on them.
If you're CU on offense, what do you try and do differently second half?
Well, you got to look for the big play. You also, I think, want to get Hagan with the football a bit more. Darian hasn't been able to run the ball, and I think you have to give partial credit to the Baylor defense for that.
You're right. It seems to be they're most effective today when Hagan's either running it or throwing it. We'll be right back. We'll take a look at some first half stats and first half highlights.
Hey,
Sometimes you try and annihilate your fellow athletes, but other times you try and do all that you can for them. As spokesperson for the U.S. Association for Blind Athletes, I'd like to invite you to Wendy's to enjoy a Carl's Combo, a big classic hamburger, biggie drink, and biggie fries. For every one you order, Wendy's will donate 25 cents to these courageous athletes. So come on, order a Carl's Combo. I know you're not as mean as me, but I bet you're just as nice.
Where should we push it to this time? Not that place again. Let's take it to budget transmission. But how far is it? It says here there's a budget transmission just up ahead. Well, let's go. It's gotta be better than that last place. We have a warranty good anywhere we go. Where to, Wilma? Just keep driving. With budget transmission, we're set for life.
24-hour stakeout.
I hear him coming.
Your equipment better work, and in close quarters, your deodorant better work overtime. That's why Sure made new Pro Stick for men to protect for over 24 hours. In close quarters, we didn't want Pro Stick to come on strong then fade early. New Pro Stick has a long-lasting ingredient so our scents don't come on too strong but protect for over 24 hours.
Got it. Who's caught a knife? There you go.
You mean a day?
Try new Sure Pro Stick for men. The Pro works overtime every time.
You got your dreams, your big ideas, you want them all to come true. But can you depend on your bank to really help you through? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You give your all in all that you do. But can you depend on your bank to do the same for you? Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Your score at halftime, CU 7, Baylor 3. Let's go down to the field and our Mark McIntosh.
All right, guys, you were talking about the CU fumble earlier. It was a design play. Leuenberg and Hagen got a deal worked out. If they see a big opening up the middle, they run an automatic quarterback sneak just on touch. As soon as Hagen's hands touch Leuenberg's butt, Leuenberg hikes the ball. Well, they weren't on the same page. Leuenberg thought they were going to run the quarterback sneak. Hagen didn't. But as soon as Hagen's hands touched Leuenberg's butt, Leuenberg hiked the ball, and Hagen wasn't ready for it. And, of course, the Buffs turned it over, and it cost them an easy chance to possibly get a touchdown. Now, at halftime here, you know they're honoring the 1969 CU Buffalo team. That team went 8-3 on the season, losing only to Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Penn State. It went to the Liberty Bowl and played a classic against the University of Alabama. Here's what happened. It was a beautiful, sunny December day as Colorado tangled with the Crimson Tide of Alabama and its legendary coach, Paul Bear Bryant. Fred Casati, former sports information director at CU, remembers Alabama's reputation didn't intimidate the Colorado Buffs.
Alabama that year did not have a great football team. They were 6-4 going into the game and ended up the season 6-5. So, you know, there was the tradition, the name and everything. But we had a good football team, and we had some pretty solid guys.
Colorado took the opening kickoff and marched into the Crimson Tide end zone. Fullback Ward Walsh got the touchdown from 13 yards out to give CU a 7-0 lead. This day, CU's running game was brilliant. Senior tailback Bobby Anderson, in his final game at Colorado, rushed for 254 of his team's 473 rushing yards. It was a Liberty Bowl record. Anderson's 49-yard gallop led to a first-quarter field goal and a 10-0 CU lead after 15 minutes. Quarterback Jimmy Bratton was also outstanding, rushing for 111 yards. His perfect pitch to Anderson gave Colorado a commanding 17-0 second-quarter lead. Throughout the first half, the Buffs' pass rush was relentless. Sophomore Herb Orvis harassed Alabama quarterback Scott Hunter all day. The Tide quarterback couldn't get anything generated through the air, so he kept it on the ground. In fact, kept it 31 yards for the score on a quarterback sneak. It narrowed Colorado's margin to 17-7. The Tide grew stronger as the game neared halftime. Another touchdown run made it 17-13. But Walsh earned his second touchdown of the game, finding a big hole on a 15-yard gallop to pay dirt. It was 24-13 Colorado. Alabama scored again to make it 24-19. And again, CU put what looked like the clinching blow into Alabama's comeback plans. On the kickoff after Bama scored, Steve Engel takes it 91 yards. Colorado held a 31-19 lead at intermission. The two teams had combined for 40 points in the second quarter. The second half started great for Alabama. New quarterback Neb Hayden tossed 2 third-quarter touchdowns, and suddenly CU's once commanding lead was gone. The Tide had shifted the score in their favor, 33-31. But then Anderson took over, carrying 8 times on Colorado's fourth-quarter drive. Number 11 guided the Buffs into the end zone, and once again CU was back on top, 38-33.
Bobby had his greatest day of his life that day, and it was before a national television audience, and it was fitting because it earned him a number 1 draft round choice a couple of months later.
On Alabama's next possession, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty pinned the Tide inside their 10. Bill Brundage pinned them even deeper, trapping Alabama's quarterback for a safety. It was now 40-33 Colorado. Time for CU fans to breathe just a bit easier.
Bryant gave him the word at the half, I think, that he was going to put him into the disposal or something after the game, and we had to come back, but we were pretty much the more superior team. Basically because we had a tremendous defense that year with Herb Orvis and Bill Brundage playing defensive ends, and they were tough. They were tough. They killed those Alabama quarterbacks.
Final score of that ball game, 47-33. You can probably see the team behind me being introduced. They will get a videotape of their wonderful 1969 season. Back upstairs to Lesson Day.
Thanks, Mark. Let's take a look at what CSU is doing in Lincoln, Nebraska against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and, well, they're not doing too well. Nebraska leading the Rams 36-0. CSU has already pulled quarterback Kevin Verdugo and put in freshman Anthony Hill. We'll be right back here at Folsom Field in Boulder for the rest of the CU game.
It's here. Ford's factory authorized clearance. The best savings of the year on every Ford car in stock. Ford's factory authorized clearance. The lowest financing of the year, 2.9%. Ford's factory authorized clearance. Tremendous cash discounts. $1,000 on Probe, Tempo, and Thunderbird. $1,600 on Taurus SHO. Ford's factory authorized clearance. The biggest cash incentives and the best prices on all Ford cars. Ford's factory authorized clearance. Happens once a year, and this is it. It's 8:30.
What happens on the new K-Hal after Hal and Charlie's morning show? Music, and lots of it. Try the new K-Hal 95.7 FM. Hal and Charlie Mornings. Denver's soft rock radio all day.
They had just what the customer wanted. They had their best person on the account. They had everything they needed to get the business. Everything except enough phone lines. Make sure you have enough. Call U.S. West Communications, because it's not just a phone line. It's your bottom line. U.S. West, making the most of your time.
Bronco fans, here's your chance to win a trip or 2 to a Broncos away game or tickets for a home game in the Phillips 66 Denver Draw Play. Stop by any participating Phillips 66 station to register. Then watch Sports Extra here on Channel 4 Sunday nights to see if you've won. Winners are drawn weekly. It's the Denver Draw Play. Round trip airfare provided by United Airlines, official airline of the Denver Broncos.
Back in Boulder, CU leading Baylor 7-3 at halftime. You know, many college students spend their summers at seasonal jobs or just relaxing in the sun. But CU's Leslie Ahom shows us how some CU students turn those typical pursuits into a unique learning experience.
These along here are sheep tracks. This area all along in here is where the sheep range through farther down the canyon.
CU senior Karen Melby spent her summer looking for desert bighorn sheep in the Dolores River Canyon. She took part in the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. It's a way for biology majors to do field work. Karen's team assignment, to locate and observe.
And I'm looking for certain behavior patterns, and so far I haven't seen any. That's what I'm looking for, but still good data to know.
Some of the sheep wear radio collars, which can help the students find them.
She appears to be over this area somewhere, and you basically scan until you lose the signal.
A new solar-powered computer device for longer-term radio tracking also is being field tested in the remote canyon. Further upstream, other students get their feet wet.
We're going to split the crew and do 2 people on the chemistry testing and two of us in the river sampling the bugs.
Instructor Garth Harwood and freshman Brett Knutson scour rocks for tiny insects. Natalie Stewart and Todd Barker take water samples.
I'm testing for alkalinity right now.
This study is done in cooperation with the Bureau of Land Management, and they will be using our data to help them determine what the optimal stream flows are for the Dolores River.
The River Canyon in southwestern Colorado is a great outdoor classroom.
Well, it's a relatively unstudied drainage, for one thing, and that is always exciting to biologists because it gives you the opportunity to discover new things. It's a great opportunity to spend the summer with a lot of friends and make a lot of friends and see a brand new area.
You guys see my big flashlight?
When night falls in the canyon, the work begins for a third group of students.
A lot of times we're out till 2 or 3 in the morning, and then we sleep.
These night owls are in search of the rare and elusive Mexican spotted owl, a bird that's been proposed for listing as a threatened species. The best way to find an owl is to speak its language. They also try audio recordings.
As soon as we've played the tape, we listen for the next minute and then play it again and hopefully hear something.
I think just the additional factor of being out at night adds a whole nother dimension of difficulty to the work. You know, knowing where you are, just concentrating on not tripping over logs and cliffs and rocks. Yeah, bears are out at night.
The students end their work this night, like most nights, without having gotten a call back. But then, that's the assignment, to find out if any of the rare owls nest in the canyon.
See, we're together.
All right, we're waiting for second half kickoff at Folsom Field. We'll be right back. See you leading it 7-3.
This picante sauce says it's better than the salsa made in New York City. They don't say how it stacks up against La Victoria. I wonder why. I wonder if it's because La Victoria uses fresh tomatoes, peppers, and onions. I wonder if it's because La Victoria has always made thick, chunky salsa. I wonder if it's because La Victoria flat out tastes better. That's it.
More and more people are switching to La Victoria.
No wonder.
Introducing McDuff's incredible TV and video sale. A colossal production featuring tremendous savings on VCRs and camcorders, big screen color and console TVs. Our stunning lineup of stars includes Sony, RCA, JVC, Panasonic, Zenith, and Magnavox. Like this Sony remote control 8mm camcorder, now just $749.99. McDuff's spectacular TV and video sale, showing for a limited time at a McDuff near you. Hurry, sale ends September 19th. At McDuff, we're serious about low prices.
This help for your home is brought to you by Bell Plumbing and Heating.
Hi, I'm Paul McGregor. Water companies tell us that water leaks around our house can easily account for up to 10% of our water bills. Hot water leaks can cost more than 50 cents a day, and hidden leaks such as in a toilet can waste over 12 gallons an hour. That's over 7,000 gallons a month. Take a few minutes to check your home for leaky faucets and outside hose connections. Stop paying for water you're not using.
Good times and great oldies. Cool 105.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Grease Monkey, a proud company for Colorado. And also by Taco Bell, by Coors Light, and by First Federal Bank.
Well, it's been a defensive struggle here in Boulder, 7-3 CU. And let's take a look at the only touchdown of the game, Dave.
Well, great play action fake. You see Darian Hagan fake the ball to Kent Call. Sean Brown from the left side's on a crossing route, and this is a perfectly thrown pass. Sean Brown gets a nice little block there from Rico Smith, and as you said, that's it in terms of crossing the goal line for either team. Take another look at it. You'll see both linebackers really bite on the play-action fake. The ball is lofted there just over the outstretched hands of Lachey Maston. Outstretched hands, I should say. But it wasn't pretty for either offense. CU with only 7 first downs. Baylor had 12. Colorado only rushed for 51 yards. And that is, although against a better defense, has got to change in the next few weeks. But this game dominated by 2 excellent defensive teams. You see Baylor had the ball 20 minutes, almost 21 minutes to Colorado's 9.
Which makes the score even more amazing. Baylor has the ball twice as long as CU in the first half. CU, however, with the lead. And something about the rushing yardage. You know, last year, if the Buffs ended up with less than 200 yards rushing, it was unusual. This year, they might do that in the first 2 games each. Kicking off will be Baylor to start the second half, and back to receive for CU. Chris Hudson and Charles Johnson. Hudson fields it. Decides discretion is the better part of valor. Let's go down to the field right now, and Mark McIntosh.
Thank you, Les. Earlier, you know, we thought it was just some sprained ligaments in Richard Fisher's right knee. Unfortunately, now we find out the ligaments are torn. He will have surgery in the morning. Back up to you guys.
Oh, that's a shame. Here's a kid who couldn't wait to get into the starting lineup. Started last week against Wyoming, today again against Baylor. A very good player, and it looks like his season might be over. 1st and 10 for CU from its own 20-yard line. This is James Hill with a little opening on the left side up to the 25. So it looks like the freshman John Knutson is going to get a lot of work for CU at that inside linebacker spot. Just a freshman. He'll take over for Richard Fisher. 2nd and 5 for the Buffs. Hagan keeps it. Gets a couple of yards. Ryan Hand brings him down. Darian Hagan. Dave, do you see any residue from that bad knee he had last year?
No, I don't, and I'm really surprised. You see Nebraska pasting CSU at halftime 43-0. I thought it would take Hagan a couple of games to really get the feel for the offense and the feel for football again, but he has shown no ill effects from that injury, and it was a serious injury in the Orange Bowl.
3rd and 3 for the Buffs. Kent Call, does he have it? He's going to be very close to the first down.
Just depends on the spot. And I think he may have it.
You're right.
I tell you, a lot of folks have been disappointed with Kent Call. I would urge them to be patient. Here's a kid that was out last year as a redshirt, has good skills. He's an excellent athlete. It may take him a while to feel comfortable with big-time college football, but you need to give him more than one game. You need to give the entire team more than one game before you judge him.
Everybody's spoiled by Eric Bieniemy and what he did in the CU uniform. This is Hill for about another 5 yards. Brian Hand again with the tackle. Eric Bieniemy, the school's all-time leading rusher, the school's all-time leading scorer, now with the San Diego Chargers. Ken Call has some big shoes to fill, and he didn't really do too badly last week. He gained 50 yards in his first game for the Buffs. Young man out of Fort Morgan, senior class president in high school.
I would bet Bill McCartney, as you see, looked at the halftime stats, saw 15 carries for 51 yards for his offense, and had a little talking to his offensive line.
2nd and 6. Up the middle they go with Hill again, up to the 39. Might be close to the first down. Now they're going to mark him a little short, about a yard short. James Hill certainly doesn't look like he has an ankle sprain. Hagan tries to pick up the first down himself. He might not have gotten it. It was 3rd and 1 play.
That was the play that they fumbled in the first half. Hagan walks up In the huddle, he tells Jay Lewinberg, as soon as I touch you behind, you snap it. Nobody else even knows that the snap count's going to be on, nor do they move. That time, Baylor did a nice job of reacting, and Hagan got swatted down right on the 40-yard line.
They're going to measure this one.
He has it by an inch, or missed it by an inch.
Yeah, missed it by about that much, 3-4 inches. The crowd wants CU to go for it. Let's see how confident CU is in this offensive line.
Well, this decision, I think, will give confidence to the offensive line. Bill McCartney telling his young crew, all right, we're in our own territory. It's 4th down. The game really could hinge on this play. Let's see what you're made of.
4th and 1. Does he have it?
Yeah, he got it. With the extra effort, he got it. That's one, had they not made it, I think, after the game, everybody would have wanted to talk to Bill McCartney and ask, what are you doing? First, you let Hagan run punts back, and now you go for it on 4th down, and that is not the kindest of spots. Hagan looked like he got second effort. Now watch, he's initially hit back. Watch the surge of Hagan there. Didn't look like he got a very good spot from the side judge, but it may be enough anyway.
They're going to measure it again. I think he's got it this time. Yes. So CU with a 1st down at its own 40-yard line. Fans all around the stadium holding their breath on that one. James Hill, not much on the left side. Gain of 1. Albert Fontenot brings him down. Fontenot's an interesting story, Dave. You know, Coach McCartney loved him, would have loved to have had him here at Folsom Field.
And felt like he had a chance to get him as well. Fontenot, a great athlete. Baylor is blessed with up front people. You see Marcus Lowe down for the 2nd time of the game, but they're big and yet they can run. Baylor's very quick defensively. But I think although CU would like to establish themselves in the ground, they're going to have to throw the ball here. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to knock this team off the ball for 80 yards.
Agreed. That's how they've been most effective first half, throwing the ball. Usually Hagan on the run, going to the sideline to somebody. Charles Johnson into the game for the Buffs right now. Marcus Lowe limping off the field. That's the 2nd time he's gone down. Darian Hagan, a preseason All-American pick by quite a few publications around the country. Flags on the field, and Baylor's acting as if CU jumped a little too soon. The freshman Clint Moore.
Bill McCartney last week was talking about after the Wyoming game, he had some no-hitters. Those are great in baseball, but they're not so good in college football. That means he had guys trying to block that got nothing but air. Had several missed assignments up front. He felt like things would clear up a bit here in the 2nd week, and for the most part, I think they have. They're playing a much better defensive football team this week than last.
11:35 to go in the 3rd quarter. CU with a 7-3 lead. It's 2nd and 14. Hagan gets away and gets it up to the 41-yard line. Still 9 yards short of the 1st down.
Tailbacks for Colorado have carried only 3 times so far in the game. You just haven't seen CU get to the option. I think for a couple of reasons. You want to take advantage of your best players. Offensively, that would be James Hill and Darian Hagan, at least right now. So the tailback, whomever is playing, has not been a factor.
3rd and 10. Hagan, a good rush, fumbles. I believe I saw a black jersey fall on the ball initially. Big pile. It'll take a couple hours to get these guys off.
Jerry looked like he just lost grasp of the football when he brought it down. Now it's stripped out of his hand. A nice play from the right side by Albert Fontenot.
Well, Jay Lewinberg, the CU center, was able to fall on the ball. CU keeps it, but now they're going to have to give it up by punting. Mitch Berger will punt. And to receive it for Baylor, Lee Miles. Berger with a high kick. Baylor calls for a fair catch, and the Bears will start with it from their own 26-yard line. A 42-yard punt by Berger. 10:33 to go in the third quarter. This telecast is an exclusive presentation of KCNC and the National Broadcasting Company. It's intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of this telecast without the express written consent of KCNC is prohibited.
I'll tell you, to draw a correlation between this game and Major League Baseball, it's quite a pitcher's duel. Not much action at the plate. Both offensive teams have struggled to get things going.
1st and 10 for Baylor. Full house backfield. J.J. Joe going deep. He's got a man wide open. It looks like it's going to be 6 for Baylor. Melvin Bonner, the touchdown for the Bears. No flags on the field. A 73-yard scoring strike from the sophomore quarterback J.J. Joe to the junior X-back Melvin Bonner, and Baylor now with the lead.
Well, we talked about the option game and the lack of offense, but in games like this, big plays can really mean a lot. You'll see Bonner run right past Chris Hudson, who just for a split second looked into the backfield at the option down the left side, and Melvin Bonner high-stepped his way into a touchdown, and Baylor has taken the lead.
Jeff Ireland, the extra point attempt. It's good. And with 10:23 to go in the third quarter, Baylor has its first lead of the afternoon, leading the CU Buffaloes 10-7.
Can you see the music?
You can on a rock hot cup, yeah.
You can see the music.
Taco Bell, pick 'em up.
Free when you buy 32-ounce size.
It's designed for the music master. Like MC Hammer.
Just like go.
Get a free refill.
Scorpions, Bell Biv DeVoe.
Get to Taco Bell before they go.
To see the music.
Collect all 5 free rock hard cups, yeah.
Run for the bottom.
And he takes the lead. Here I come.
The Mickey Thompson Off-Road Grand Prix is coming. See Ivan Stewart battle for the checkered flag. Get an action pass at your Toyota dealer and save up to $42 on seats, early entry, and pit passes. So get your Toyota action pass and come face to face with someone else who likes to play in the dirt.
Whoa! Ivan Iron Man Stewart!
The Mickey Thompson Off-Road Grand Prix, September 28, Mile High Stadium.
Baylor strikes from 75 yards. They've had success running the option. 1st and 10, a nice time to throw it. J.J. Joe with a nice play-action fake, and Melvin Bonner is way behind Chris Hudson, who just for a second watched Joe making that play-action fake. His feet stopped, and Bonner went right past him. One play, 75 yards in 10 seconds.
And Baylor now with a 10-7 lead, the Bears' first lead of the afternoon. Back to receive the kickoff, Eric Mitchell and Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson chooses not to return it. So CU will have the ball at its own 20.
Now offensively, you have to do something to regain that momentum. Baylor defense comes on the field with their hands in the air. They feel like they can take control of this football game, and unless Colorado gets something going offensively with some big plays of their own, chances are they're right.
Well, if you're keeping track, the Buffs have played almost 7 full quarters this year. This is the first time they are behind. They never lacked for the lead at Wyoming. And they've been leading all afternoon here until just now. Kent Call the give. 1-yard gain. Albert Fontenot picking things up a bit for Baylor. He's been in on almost every tackle the last couple series. The crowd awfully quiet here. Last few years, they're not used to seeing CU behind. Under the 10-minute mark in the third quarter. 2nd and 10 for CU. Hagan looking to throw. Charles Johnson with a flag on the field. Charles Johnson gets the first down. Let's see what the flag is all about. Well, the call will go against CU, a personal foul. They're calling illegal motion, excuse me. So you can wipe out that pass to Charles Johnson. Coming out of the game right now for Baylor is the left cornerback, Clifford Ellison. Buffs with the ball at their own 15-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 15 to go. James Hill and Kent Call, the running backs behind Hagan. Mark Henry and Rico Smith, the wideouts. Hagan to Mark Henry, out of bounds. Pass a bit out of Henry's reach. So 3rd and long for the Buffs. Once again, struggling on offense.
And Hagan that time rolling to his right. You want to get him outside the pocket, obviously, because he's very dangerous, but you limit yourself as to where you can throw the ball. Rolling to the short side of the field, there's only so much territory, and Baylor in his own defense, not a lot of holes for receivers to find.
3rd and 15. 9:08 to go in the third quarter. The crowd trying to charge up the Buffs, getting a bit noisier. Good pass rush. Hagan on the run again. This time it looks like he does get the first down, complete to Mark Henry.
Oh, that's a great throw. Darian Hagan, if Colorado is to come back and win this football game, it's going to be an effort led by the senior quarterback. This is supposed to be a drop back, but he feels the pressure, rolls out, and that thing is on the money. Nice job by Mark Henry coming back to the football. Watch him, he'll stop, head directly back to Hagan. He separates himself there from number 41, Farias Walker, makes the catch, and a big first down.
Mark Henry out of Fleming, Colorado. 6'2", 190-pound senior. 1st and 10 for the Buffs from their own 32.
Reverse.
Rico Smith on the reverse. Up to the 44-yard line. A gain of 12. Frankie Smith brings him down.
And that's the kind of play you need to loosen things up against that Baylor defense. Run the reverse, hit him with an option, rollout pass, make big plays. Rico Smith has excellent speed. You saw last year Mike Pritchard in this role score a couple of times, and pretty good job up front. You see Hansen trying to get out in front of him. Also, Roger Ivey with a good block.
1st and 10 from their own 44. Hagan on the option. The pitch to Call has some room. Gets it across midfield down to the Baylor 48. Keith Caldwell knocked him out. Kent Call sat out last year, a freshman redshirt. His dad, Rich, coached him in high school at Fort Morgan. The Gold Helmet Award winner, given by the Denver Post. 2nd and 2 for the Buffs. This is Call again. High steps his way down to about the 42. Call it a gain of 6.
I think that's the kind of play where Ken Call will be at his best his entire career. He's a slasher. Run him up on the lead, line him up in the I formation with a fullback that's going to knock people down and let him pick the right hole. Ken Call is at his best running but from tackle to tackle.
1st and 10 for CU. James Hill. Nothing. Maybe a yard. James Hill out of Wide Field High School in Colorado Springs. Seven minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Baylor with a 10-7 lead. It's 2nd and 9 for the Buffs. Hagan going deep. He's got Mark Henry. Oh, almost makes a phenomenal catch. Knocked out of his hands by Keith Caldwell.
Well, we said at the outset of the telecast it's going to be rock'em sock'em football. If you like that kind, you'll love this. Henry down the sideline. Well thrown ball. Almost a great catch. He has it there. Bam! Caldwell comes from the free safety. Knocks his own helmet off. Henry down holding his stomach. 2 great plays there.
So it's 3rd and 9 for CU. Rico Smith and Mark Henry lined up wide outside. Hagan over the middle to Henry, incomplete. And the Buffs will punt. So a nice little drive is halted at the Baylor 42-yard line, and the Buffs have to give up the ball. Lee Miles back to receive the punt. Mitch Berger will kick it for CU. Miles calls for a fair catch at his own 12-yard line, and he's very angry with himself. We're going to take a break right here at Folsom Field. 6:35 to go in the 3rd quarter. Baylor leads it 10-7.
At KBCO, you asked us for longer music sets and fewer interruptions.
Ready to go for a walk?
So now our music sets are longer than ever.
We'll go right after this song. Ready to go walk?
Listen to KBCO 97.3 FM, now with longer music sets than ever.
Get on, get on, get on. Get on excitement.
The all-new Pontiac Bonneville.
A new way to ride.
More than a work of art, an engineering masterpiece. With the stability of four-wheel independent suspension and the accuracy of anti-lock brakes. The art of excitement, the science of control. The all-new Pontiac Bonneville.
Get on the Pontiac.
See your neighborhood Colorado Pontiac dealer.
Can you see the music?
You can on a rock hot cup, yeah.
You can see the music.
Taco Bell, pick them up.
Free when you buy 32-ounce size. It's designed for the music master.
Like MC Hammer.
Just like
Get a free refill.
Scorpions, Bell Biv DeVoe.
Get to Taco Bell before they go.
To see the music.
Collect all 5 free rock hot cups, yeah.
Run for the bottom.
Les Shapiro and Dave Logan in Boulder, Colorado. Got a gorgeous day for football. It's been a gorgeous day for defensive football, to tell you the truth. 10-7, Baylor leads. Baylor with the ball. 1st and 10. J.J. Joe, the quarterback, wants to throw. It's complete up to the 29-yard line to Steve Stutzman, the X-back. X-back, wing-back, H-back, tight end, whatever you want to call it.
You'll see the tight end crossing underneath. Colorado takes that away, but the hook route to Stutzman wide open, and J.J. Joe has been accurate here in the second half. A 75-yard touchdown pass to Melvin Bonner, and a good throw right there to Stutzman.
Joe very erratic the first half, but now he's slinging some arrows. 1st and 10. Joe again. Complete. Up the sideline. That's Melvin Bonner, the man who scored the only Baylor touchdown. They're going to bring that ball way back to the CU 46-yard line, but still another completion. And once again, Baylor in CU territory.
Well, you're seeing Baylor right now take charge of the game because they're aggressive offensively. Good throw. Bonner makes the catch. Thomas doesn't do a good job of locking up. And Bonner, with great speed, just ambles toward the sideline and steps out. That would have been another long touchdown catch.
Another first down for Baylor on the Buffs' 46. J.J. Joe keeps it. Is that a broken play, Dave, or did he intend to run with it?
I think he intended to run with it, but maybe not as quickly as he had to force up inside that left guard.
Leonard Renfro, the tackle. Here's a stat we didn't throw at you yet, but in the first half alone, CU linebacker Greg Beekert had 17 tackles. 17 tackles. That's a good 4 weeks for a lot of linebackers. 2nd and 7 for Baylor at the CU 43. The crowd bringing the noise level up a notch, trying to help out the Buffs. J.J. Joe around left end, inside the 30. Down to the CU 29-yard line. Well, you can feel Baylor has that momentum.
Joe's been successful on the triple option, keeping the football. He rides straight into the line, ducks up, and again, no force man. Someone is assigned to every option in the veer attack. Greg Thomas forces Joe to veer to the outside, but J.J. Joe's been the story of the game here for Baylor.
You have to wonder if this Buffs defense is wearing down. A hot day. They've been on the field an awful lot. 1st and 10. The pitch to Mims. There's a flag down. Actually, the flag didn't hit the field. The referee pulled it out of his pocket and twirled it above his head to stop play.
Dead ball, illegal procedure. Offense. First down.
The penalty will go against Baylor. Push him 5 yards back. Darian Hagan looking very concerned about his CU offense.
Michigan leads Notre Dame 3-0, by the way, in a big game in Ann Arbor.
Five minutes to go, third quarter. Baylor with 1st and 15. They're in CU territory at the 35-yard line. This is Mims. Tries to turn it outside. Gets a little more than he would have going inside. The ball pops loose, but the play is called dead at the 28-yard line. Call it a gain of 6.
I'll tell you, that's a great piece of running right there. Picks up 5 or 6 yards. Could have lost 5 or 6. Baylor playing with a lot of confidence now, both offensively and defensively.
Second and 9. The crowd starting to chant defense. Why, they need it now. Well, a mix-up on the play. The Baylor quarterback, J.J. Joe, runs smack into his fullback, Robert Strait, and that play went nowhere. .3:30 to go in this third quarter. CU's second game of the year next week. The Minnesota Gophers of the Big Ten are here at Folsom Field. We'll televise that game for you also. 3rd and 12. Joe to Miles. Out at the 23. Nowhere near the first down, however.
Fortunately for Colorado, Miles just ran out of real estate. CU defensively was screwed up. The secondary standing in the middle of the field. And you'll see Miles all by himself with Hamilton chasing him in vain. Had he been able to keep his footing there and had a little more turf, the first down would have been theirs. But a big stand defensively. You don't want to underestimate what's happened here. Even if they make this, Baylor had 13-7, is within 1 score of Colorado.
Baylor's Jeff Ireland, a 40-yard field goal attempt. Well, he's got a sweet leg, and that one right through the uprights. So Baylor, with its biggest lead of the afternoon, 13-7 over the CU Buffs. We have 3:11 to go in the 3rd quarter.
From previous experience of owning a Ford pickup, I would tell people that they should own a new GMC pickup truck.
Just overall, the appearance, the feel of the truck, the way it drives, the power that it has, the GMC just seems to be a much superior vehicle than the Ford.
And now, during show and sell, get the absolute lowest prices of the year on every 91 GMC truck in stock. Plus, with cash back to $1,500, you can save even more at your Colorado GMC truck dealers.
Can you see the music?
You can on a rock hot cup, yeah.
You can see the music.
Taco Bell, pick them up.
Free when you buy 32-ounce. It's designed for the music master.
Like MC Hammer.
Just let go.
Get a free refill.
Scorpions, Bell Biv DeVoe.
Get to Taco Bell before they go.
To see the music.
Collect all 5 free rock hot cups, yeah.
Run for the bottom.
CU fans, you can now own a piece of Colorado football history. This 100% wool limited edition blanket commemorates the 1990 national champion Colorado Golden Buffaloes for only $29.95. With a percentage of all sales going directly to the university, these 50 by 60-inch blankets can be yours today. Order now. Don't delay. Quantities limited. Call 1-800-858-2002. That's 1-800-858-2002. Call now.
Well, that last scoring drive for Baylor went 8 plays, 65 yards, resulting in a 40-yard field goal. The Baylor Bears with a 13-7 lead, kicking off to CU. Back to receive for CU, Chris Hudson and Charles Johnson. Well, there won't be any run back here. To the back of the end zone, Jeff Ireland puts it. So the Buffs will start within at their own 20.
Jack Crow, the Arkansas coach, said before the season that he felt like Baylor was going to be the best team in the Southwest Conference, and I can see as to why. Got a great kicking game, an excellent defense. With those two components, you're in every game, and sooner or later, their offense is good enough to get on track and make a few big plays.
You know, usually every week the head coach says, hey, you can't take these guys lightly. They're darn good, and they build up the opponent, whether it's Arkansas State or Chadron State. Yet we should have listened to Bill McCartney this week. The pass from Hagan complete to Rico Smith. Coach McCartney all week telling us how good Baylor is, and we're seeing he's right.
But now a time really for this young offense to develop, to mature, and to understand what it takes to win big games. Hagan to Rico Smith on first down. Good for the first down. They're 6 points behind. There's still plenty of time. And Darian Hagan is a guy that can really make big plays at key times. He's going to have to.
Less than 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Hagan wants to keep. Turns the corner. Up across the 40, down to the 41. Finally brought down by Albert Fontenot and Keith Caldwell.
Watch Hagen's feet. They never stop. Very quick feet. Thinks about cutting up there. Decides no. Now he realizes he's got to outrun the perimeter Baylor defense. And this is taking on a defensive tackle. Not you taking the blow. If you want to come up and meet me, Keith Caldwell, I will deliver the blow to you.
An 8-yard gain for Hagen, so it's 2nd and 2. Hagen quickly to Rico Smith. Across the 45, we're going to get a late hit on the sideline here. Rico Smith well out of bounds, yet hit anyway.
Well, I tell you, the quickest way to lose momentum on the road is to take silly fouls. Smith is clearly out of bounds here and then is knocked into the bench by Brian Hand, the senior linebacker. You just can't make that play. You have to hold up. You don't want to give a team that has struggled offensively 3 yards, and that's what Brian Hand just did.
Plus, you allow the home crowd to get into the game, and you can hear they're a little noisier than they were before. They like that call. In the backfield now for CU is Michael Westbrook, the freshman out of Detroit. Hagen the pitch to Call. In between the tacklers, down to the 31-yard line. A gain of 7. This is the deepest penetration CU has had all half. With less than 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Baylor up 13-7. Stats on Call. He's averaging better than 5 yards a carry today. 2nd and 4 for CU. Call again. Bounces off a couple tacklers. That 2nd effort, 3rd effort might have picked up the 1st down for him. Ryan Hand and Keith Caldwell finally rope him.
Again, we've told you about Call's ability between the tackles, sidesteps the initial defense, bam, takes on a secondary player into another one. Call bench presses about 375. And I think feels most comfortable when he's running inside.
Well, they've got a tailback that runs like a fullback and a fullback that runs like a tailback.
And a quarterback who runs like a running back.
There's a timeout on the field right now. With 1:43 to go in the 3rd quarter. Baylor takes the timeout.
I can tell you that will be the Newt Rockne talk right there. Bill McCartney, Mike Berry, some of the offensive coaches in the midst of that young offensive line saying, Zeke, come on, come on. We've got them on their heels. We've driven the football down the field. We've got to punch this in for the touchdown. Conversely, that's Grant Taft saying, hey, we need to stop them here. They've made some yards, but we can hold them.
Tomorrow on Channel 4 and NBC, the Seattle Seahawks come into Mile High Stadium to face the Denver Broncos. We'll have live coverage of all the action, plus highlights and locker room interviews immediately following on News 4 at 5 o'clock. It all starts tomorrow with NFL Live at 1:30, followed by the Broncos against the Seahawks at 2 o'clock, right here on Channel 4, the home of the Denver Broncos. CU with the ball on the Baylor 27-yard line. Down by 6 points. CSU finally got on the board against Nebraska in Lincoln. The Cornhuskers beating them badly, 50-7. The run up the middle goes nowhere. That was Matt Bell, his first carry of the afternoon. A junior out of Thomas Jefferson High School in Denver.
We've talked about Kent Call feeling very comfortable between the tackles. I think Matt Bell's a guy that enjoys the perimeter game maybe more than running inside. Not to say he can't do it, but I think he's better at taking the pitch and making folks miss from the outside.
2nd and 8 from the Baylor 25-yard line. Well, a lot of jumping on the line. Santana Dotson and Marcus Lowe come across the ball, but let's see if they were pulled off.
Dead ball. Offside. Defense.
It's against Baylor. Which greatly helps the Buffs' cause, because now instead of 2nd and 8, it's 2nd and 3.
Leuenberg, again, a master at realizing when he's got folks in the neutral zone, feels that pressure, snaps the ball, and Baylor, for the third time, drawn off.
Second and 3. Under 1 minute to go, third quarter. Hagan himself on his feet, inside the 10, down to the 7. Another Buffs first down. Brian Hand the tackle.
But I tell you, if any play makes the highlight film, this one will. Watch how many guys miss Darian Hagan after he rides the fullback in. There, 1, 2, Hagan on his feet, 3, 4. Darian Hagan is a man on a mission on this drive. Does a great job cutting back inside. And a lot of Baylor Bears, starting with Curtis Hafford, missed the senior quarterback.
Well, you said he was a quarterback who ran more like a tailback. He looked like a fullback there. First and goal from the 8. Kent Call stopped for a loss. Back to the 11-yard line. Santana Dotson brought him down.
And everybody is a classical armchair quarterback here, but you have to expect Baylor to blitz. You have to expect Baylor to come after you. You're down to the 10-yard line. And so if you can at all protect the quarterback, you will have people open. They won't have a chance till the fourth quarter, but it's going to be tough to knock it down with this defense for 10 yards.
Well, the third quarter is over. CU threatening to score, down 13-7 to Baylor. We'll be right back at Folsom Field.
Can you see the music?
You can on a rock hot cup, yeah.
You can see the music.
Taco Bell, pick 'em up.
Free when you buy 32-ounce size. It's designed for the music master.
Like MC Hammer.
George Michael.
Get a free refill.
Scorpions, Bell Biv DeVoe.
Get to Taco Bell before they go.
To see the music.
Collect all 5 free rock hard cups, yeah.
Run for the bottom.
It's the September Summit Sale at your Jeep and Eagle dealer, and it's a super time to save on an Eagle Summit. Get the spacious 3-door for slightly less than 7,000 Smackers, or a sensible 4-door for slightly more than 7,900 Simoleons. You could save even more with factory-to-dealer incentives. Plus, scope out the new Summit wagon with air at no extra charge. So scramble over to your dealer and save during the September Summit Sale.
See your local Jeep Eagle dealer.
Covering Colorado 24 hours a day. Colorado's news channel is Colorado's news leader. The News 4 Late Edition, number 1 at 10.
Today's game is brought to you in part by your Optics, by State Farm Insurance, and by Samsonite, all proud companies for Colorado, and also by Coors Original, and by Burger King.
It's the start of the fourth quarter. You see the CU fans up on their feet and smiling because CU is deep in Baylor territory at the 10-yard line. The pitch to Call. He's got open highway into the end zone. Kent Call.
Nice job by Darian Hagan as he had to pitch the ball quickly in the option. Watch how quickly he pitches this football. There. Now, James Hill and Mark Henry in front of Ken. Excellent blocks. And some folks think Ken Call doesn't have much speed. I can tell you, he's got enough speed to run around that corner. Just a well-designed option play.
Harper for the go-ahead point, and the Buffs take the lead back. 14-13 at the start of the fourth quarter.
Take a look at the folks in front of Call after the pitch. James Hill, number 33, there. And look at the block by Henry, number 25. An excellent job as Call waltzes into the end zone.
So CU's back on top. We still have some football to play here at Folsom Field. We'll be right back.
What's your way?
The Whopper from Burger King. Flame broiled, never fried. Made just the way you want it.
What's your way? Have it any way you want it. Take it off or put it
The Whopper from Burger King. If your way is a flame-broiled Whopper, try the Whopper Combo Meal for just $2.99. Get a Whopper your way, medium fries, and medium drink for just $2.99, only at Burger King.
Come to the Isuzu Invitational, and you can get into the rodeo at a great price. The Isuzu Rodeo. You'll like its roominess, its go-anywhere, carry-anything four-wheel drive toughness, and its standard rear anti-lock brakes almost as much as you'll like its price. So hurry, the Isuzu Invitational is your invitation to the rodeo and to compare and save, or really just save, because with Isuzu, there's no comparison. Save on rodeos now at your local Isuzu dealer.
Back in the 70s, some people drove hundreds of miles for original Coors because it was only sold out west. I know, because we did it. That's me, and that's my buddy, Jeff, with his date for the evening. Here we are on Route 66. No air conditioning, no spare, no problem. Bingo. Tasted like it was fresh out of the Rockies. I can get original Coors at home now. Great trip, great beer.
As Colorado reclaims the lead, take a look again. The quick option, Hill and Henry. Good block by Mark Henry, and Kent Call squirts into the end zone. Also a nice job by Charles Johnson at the end of the play.
The CU scoring drive, 9 plays, 80 yards. Kent Call ran it in. The Buffs now with a 14-13 lead. Back to receive the kick, Reggie Miller and Lee Miles for Baylor. This is Miller. He's not going anywhere. And I don't blame him. A lot of black shirts in front of him. Baylor will start from its own 20.
I'll tell you, this has been a heck of a football game. Two very well-coached teams getting after each other.
If you like defense, you got to like this one. Two of the best defensive units in the country. CU's defense on the field right now. 1st and 10 for Baylor. J.J. Joe, the quarterback. And Mims, the ball carrier. 2, maybe 3 yards.
Well, the Colorado defense should be well rested. CU offensively had the ball for 11.5 minutes of the third quarter. That defense over there had a little Gatorade. Some oxygen and some encouragement.
J.J. Joe, the sophomore quarterback for Baylor. Two Buffs in his face, and it's still caught. The ball was tipped, but still caught by Mike McKenzie, the tight end.
See, Ronnie Wolfork's in perfect position to get J.J. Joe and freezes a bit. Wolfork at the top of the screen right there has him. You just got to go get him. Joe with the ball tipped. That's Renfro that tips it. A nice catch by Mike McKenzie, and the Bears a couple of yards short of the first down. I saw several headsets yanked off coaches' heads on the CU sideline on that one.
I'll tell you what, if that ball isn't tipped, it might have been intercepted. Baylor caught a very big break there. 3rd and 2. This is Robert Strait. Bulls his way to the first down. He's been very, very quiet today. CU obviously keying on him. He ran for 112 yards last week against UTEP, rated one of the better fullbacks in the nation. But CU's done a good job shutting him down. Well, McCartney not used to close games the last couple of years, Dave.
Well, he's been in his share of close games, I think, over the last several years. He hasn't, however, been in many that he's led at halftime and lost. 28 of the last 29 times Colorado's led at halftime, they've won the game.
First down from their own 31-yard line. Chad Brown, a good pass rush. Again, he tries for Mike McKenzie, the tight end, who had it in his hands, but John Knutson knocks it away.
And see, here's the difference with a veteran player and a guy that is just learning the position. Chad Brown in the same position that Ronnie Wolfork was, and yet he went and forced J.J. Joe to get the ball up a little bit to get it over his head. And the CU secondary had time to react. Brown from the left side jumps, and Joe has to get the ball up and really nowhere to throw that ball. McKenzie's lucky that Figures didn't plant his helmet in between the 8 and the 9 on that play.
Second and 10 for Baylor. And the Bears call a timeout. It's their second timeout they've called this half. That leaves them with just one. J.J. Joe wetting his whistle a little, talking to Grant Taft. 20 years the head coach at Baylor. There's only one Division I coach who's been at his school longer, and that's Joe Paterno at Penn State. Bill McCartney in the second year of a 15-year contract. CU and Bill McCartney, the winningest program in the nation over the last couple of years. 23 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. J.J. Joe's been running and throwing it today. 290 yards for him altogether. And combine the run and the pass.
Yeah, 218 of that is through the airway. 362 yards of total offense by Baylor.
Second and 10. This is straight up the middle to the 34. Call it a gain of 3. Marcellus Elder and Greg Biekert once again. Boy, we've heard that name Biekert an awful lot tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Baylor come back with the same play, except J.J. Joe pulled the football back from fullback Robert Strait. Had he done it that time, it looked like he had a clean shot to the perimeter.
All right, let's see how good a prognosticator you are here. 3rd and 7.
Probably not very good. I formation.
Well, he fakes the handoff, but Joe wants to throw. Over the middle, complete. And another first down for Baylor. The tackle made by Biekert. And the catch made by the fullback Strait.
J.J. Joe again wanted to go deep with the football. Bought himself some time. This is a nice catch, a one-handed catch. Just reaches up and pulls it in. Robert Strait out of the backfield, and the Bears pick up another first down.
At the 12-minute mark, 12 minutes left in the ball game. Up the middle, almost to midfield. Biekert once again in on the tackle along with Chad Brown and Marcellus Elder. Biekert's got to be over the 20 tackle mark by now. Overshadowed last year by the 2 bookends at linebacker, Alfred Williams and Kenavis McGee. Biekert, you see right there, is in fact over the 20 tackle mark. J.J. Joe can't get away from Chad Brown.
Colorado, Mike Hankiewicz, the defensive coordinator, gambling a bit. Eric Hamilton will come from the top of the screen. Chad Brown from the bottom. Wanted to go to his tight end, and Greg Thomas, as well as Ronnie Bradford, had him covered, so Joe had nowhere to go with the ball.
Loss of 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and 13 for the Bears. They've got 3 wide receivers in the game now. And Joe gets away from the rush this time, almost intercepted by Ronnie Bradford. Joe did a great job, getting away from the rush, but can't complete the pass.
Well, you see what J.J. Joe was looking at. You can see the receiver open. Bradford makes a great close on the ball. That's going to be a first down if Ronnie Bradford does not make that play. Give the Baylor offense some credit because J.J. Joe bought himself some time, but a good reaction by Ronnie Bradford.
Kent Brentham will punt for Baylor, and Darian Hagan will return it. Hagan from his own 13. A big hole there, and a fine tackle made by Baylor at about the 18-yard line. That's where CU will start with it with 10:28 to go.
What's your way? The Whopper from Burger King. Flame broiled, never fried. Made just the way you want it.
What's your way? Have it any way you want it. Take it off or put it
The Whopper from Burger King. If your way is a flame broiled Whopper, try the Whopper combo meal for just $2.99. Get a Whopper your way, medium fries and medium drink for just $2.99. Only at Burger King.
You've been driving for nearly 2 decades. You've had your license renewed a number of times. Isn't it time you had your spirit renewed as well?
Between you and me, this is my best value at 22 grand.
The price of today's automobile is higher than ever before.
I can get you into a 48-month payment plan. No problem.
The terms of financing are longer than ever before.
Let's go into my office.
That's why regular oil and lubrication maintenance every 90 days at Grease Monkey is more important than ever before.
21.5. What do you say?
Grease Monkey, extending the life of your car.
We could go 60 months on the payment.
CU with the ball at its own 28 after the Hagan punt return. The Buffs have the lead 14-13. We have 10:28 to go in the ball game. That's Call getting the call across the 35 to the 36. He's angry with himself. That last man doesn't get him at the ankles. Call is gone. Well, there's a score from Michigan. The Wolverines beating Notre Dame 17-0. CU up to the 39-yard line. A gain of 3, close to the first down. Looks like the Buffs do have it. That was James Hill on the carry. First down for the Buffs from their own 39. This is Call again. Crawls his way to the 44. LaShawn Maston, the tackle.
With Kent Call in the game, you play smash mouth football up front. Find a guy, line up in front of you, just get a head on him, drive him, and let Call pick and choose which hole he wants to run through, and he breaks tackles, and he's strong enough to pick up a lot of yards after the first hit.
Buffs seemingly establishing the running game finally, and also eating a lot of valuable time off the clock here in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 5. Hagan goes the other way because there wasn't any room on the right side, and he found the same on the left, and a flag on the field.
I think he might call that on Darian Hagan.
Hey, Hagan's teammates trying to calm him down. I wonder if Darian said something to the official.
Well, he pushed the defensive player after he was tackled. Maybe not. Take a look at it. He's corralled there. Teddy Patton. Hagan will get up and push Patton in the face mask, and that's the call. He's going to call a personal foul on Darian Hagan. Hagan didn't like the fact that Patton had his jersey a little bit longer than he thought he should, and let him know. With all due respect, and not to sound like a homer, that is a ticky-tack foul. He didn't punch him. He didn't do anything. He pushed him in the face mask to get him off of him, and I just think you let things like that in a big game go on both sides.
Heat of the game.
I mean, had he punched him or kicked him, that's something certainly different.
So the Buffs with a long way to go to convert here. It's 3rd and 27. They're on their own 23. They have to get it to midfield. Hagan complete to his tight end Brown. Brought down at the 39. Well short of the first down. The Buffs will have to punt. Mitch Berger in the game for the kicking chores. Lee Miles back to receive it for Baylor. Clock winding down. 8:20 to go in the game. And Berger gets off a beauty. Miles will let it go. And it bounces well into the end zone, so Baylor will have the ball at its own 20. A 61-yard punt for Mitch Berger. That'll help the average. Be sure to join Dan Reeves and me each Monday evening at 6:30 for the Dan Reeves Show. We'll take a look back at the Seattle game with highlights and analysis from the coach, along with some very special interviews. That's the Dan Reeves Show, Mondays at 6:30, right here on Channel 4, the home of the Broncos. .12 to go in the fourth quarter. CU leading Baylor 14-13. Baylor with the ball. Mims up the middle. A nice run up to the 29. John Knutson the stop. Knutson's done a pretty good job filling in for the injured Richard Fisher. At one time, Knutson, the Montana High School Player of the Year out of Great Falls. 6'4", 230-pound freshman. 2nd and 1. The pitch with room to run goes to Mims. Across the 40 to about the 43. Eric Hamilton. Chad Brown stops him.
David Mims, you see 22 carries for 91 yards. He's had a big game. He and J.J. Joe on the ground, I think, partially due to the fact that Colorado has played the fullback game tough. They felt they had to stop Robert Strait, the fullback of the Bears, if they were going to win, and they have just not kept a close enough watch on the quarterback and the tailback.
First down for Baylor at its own 42. Joe to Miles. Fumble. This is Deion Figures for the Buffs. It is a fumble. It is the Buffs' ball. And they have it at the Baylor 31. Looked like Greg Lindsey, the defensive back for the Buffs, knocked the ball loose.
Well, Lindsey does a nice job here of squaring up, going for the ball. You can just see the ball from Miles just pops loose. Figures picks it up and down the sideline. And that's the first Baylor turnover of the day. Lindsey again with a big tackle. Wasn't that hard of a hit. Didn't look like Miles had to give the football up. But it came in an opportune time for CU defensively.
Deion Figures, the junior from Compton, California.
We've got an injured Bear.
Player down on the field. I think it's Reggie Miller, the Baylor wide receiver. Deion Figures had a couple of big interceptions last year. One against Washington, iced the game for CU. And then there was the one, of course, you remember in the Orange Bowl against Notre Dame. Of course you remember.
Oh, I remember. Pardon me, that's Baylor's second turnover of the game.
Well, the delay is So the Baylor trainers contend to Reggie Miller, the injured wide receiver, who was just getting up and being helped off the field. We have 7:02 to go in this game. CU with a 14-13 lead. And here's how Miller got hurt. Looks like he caught Deion Figueres' foot in his face as he was trying to tackle Figueres after the fumble. CU with the ball at the Baylor 30. Hagan sacked back at the 32. Loss of 2.
And although that's a loss of 2 and a good play by Jones on defense, Robin Jones, the All-Southwest Conference defensive end, also smart play by Hagan. He could have pitched that ball to Kent Call, but Call was going to lose significant yards had he made the pitch. In option football, there are going to be some plays that don't work right. You take your loss, minimize them, line up, and try it again.
CU with 3 running backs lined up behind Hagan. The option goes to Call. Not much. Might have gained a yard. Teddy Patton brings him down. Approaching the 6-minute mark in this game. CU 1-0 on the year so far behind Bill McCartney. Baylor 1-0.
It's a big down for the Baylor defense. 3rd and 11. It would be a long field goal opportunity, so you can look for the Bears to gamble a bit here. They have gambled on both 1st and 2nd down of this series.
Well, they have 4 down linemen. Let's see if they bring any linebackers. No. This is the option. Westbrook looking to throw. Instead runs it. The 1st down and more. Michael Westbrook, a fumble. No, the official is calling it down where Westbrook went down initially. At the Baylor 14-yard line.
Well, Bill McCartney and Dan Reeves are very good friends, and I'm wondering if Dan, after the first game with the Broncos, may have told Bill McCartney, hey, this is a pretty good play. It's going to be a quarterback throwback. Westbrook was going to throw the ball back to Darian Hagan. Hagan was covered on the play, so he decided to take off. An excellent job. Good second effort by Greg Westbrook. Michael Westbrook, excuse me. You'll see he's going to stop, look to Hagan, who's covered. And just like an option quarterback, you pull it down and get the yards you can.
The 1st down call goes to Kent Call. A yard on the play. Under 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
If you're Baylor defensively, you have to be thinking we need to keep them out of the end zone here. A field goal still allows us to stay within a touchdown distance-wise. A touchdown hurts us.
2nd and 9. Hagan. Brought down at the 9-yard line, a gain of 4. Shane Maston keeps him out of the end zone. This is a big play coming up for both squads now. 3rd and 4. Charles Johnson, the one-man split out wide for CU. 3 running backs lined up behind Hagan. It goes to Hill, and he's short of the 1st down. The crowd yelling for CU to go for it.
You've got to kick it here.
The field goal kicking unit with 2 steps onto the field. Let's see what Bill McCartney wants to do.
Well, he better kick it. No decision here. You want to kick the ball.
Bill McCartney yelling instructions to Darian Hagan right now.
Just saying when the clock runs down to 2, then call timeout.
Dave, do you take a delay of game penalty here to try and get a better angle on the field goal?
Well, I think it just depends on how comfortable Jim Harper is with the current angle.
One option there. We're going to take a break at Folsom. Buffs lead at 14-13. 3:14 to go.
What's your way?
The Whopper from Burger King. Flame broiled, never fried. Made just the way you want it.
What's your way? Have it any way you want it. Take it off or put it.
The Whopper from Burger King. If your way is a flame broiled Whopper, try the Whopper combo meal for just $2.99. Get a Whopper your way, medium fries and medium drink for just $2.99. Only at Burger King.
Save big bucks during Chevron's Land of the Giants sale. Giant discounts, giant savings, giant deals, and that applies to our entire $10 million worth of new and used car and truck inventory. Giant deals like these. Take your pick from either a new 91 Chevy Cavalier or a new Chevy truck, just $69.99. Or maybe you're in the market for a sporty Geo Storm. Giant sale priced at just $77.99. Find out how little it costs to drive away in a new set of wheels from the Land of the Giants. That's Chevron Chevrolet, the affordable way at I-25 and a Boulder exit.
No, you're sitting here singing the blues. So be my guest, you got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? I say, ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. Don't you know the cool body is happier now?
It's a swirling wind as Jim Harper of the Buffs lines up for a 24-yard field goal attempt, his first attempt of the afternoon. And it's blocked. If Baylor picks this ball up and advances it, they can score some points. Baylor with the ball down at the CU 30-yard line.
And I think it was Santana Dotson right up the middle of the field. Nobody even touched a player in the middle. And Harper's kick never had a chance.
And the CU kicking game having its problems so far this year. Last week they had a field goal and an extra point attempt blocked. This week, a field goal block.
Take a look at it. Dotson never got blocked. Nobody even got a hand on him. I believe it was number 77.
We have 3:01 to go. Baylor in a good position here to retake the lead. Down 14-13. Deep into CU territory at the 30-yard line. J.J. Joe still at quarterback for Baylor. The pitch to Mims. A little stutter step gets him down inside the 20. Down to the 18. Ronnie Bradford finally nailed him.
Well, Mims has had an excellent game. And again, watch the subtle move he will put on Greg Thomas, the free safety, who has to make this tackle. The hesitation right there, and Thomas stops his feet. Mims turns the corner and picks up the first down. Colorado now, although Mims ran out of bounds, which stops the clock, they have got to think about calling timeouts if Baylor runs in the playing field. You don't want to let that clock expire without having a chance to get it back offensively.
The Buffs with 2 timeouts left. Up the middle goes Baylor, down to the 15-yard line. Call it a gain of 3. Marcellus Elder, the tackle. Very good day, as you said, Dave, for David Mims. 103 yards rushing. Very rare for CU in the last few years to give up 100 yards rushing to any individual. 2:20 to go. It's 2nd and 7 for Baylor. Joe on the keeper. Down to the 11. John Knutson stops him.
Well, I think you got to call timeout here. 2 timeouts. The clock's going to be under 2 minutes if you don't stop it. But evidently Bill McCartney wants to save those timeouts for his offense. The problem will be if you don't stop them here, you're not going to have any time for your offensive unit to use.
1:50 to go and ticking. It's a 3rd and 3 situation for Baylor. Robert Strait, the fullback, and a flag on the field.
Baylor did not have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. They will probably take that penalty because it looked like Strait was very close to first down yardage.
That's what CU is asking about right now. Did he get the first down?
The consequence of that, though, you let Baylor line up again on 3rd down and thus run more time off the clock. 1:27 to go.
What do you do?
I think you have to move them back. Unless they got, if they got the first down, obviously you move them back. But even if they did 4th down and an inch.
It is a 5-yard penalty against Baylor. CU accepts it, and it pushes Baylor back to the 16.
So now if you're Baylor, you don't want to run anything on 3rd down and 8 that will give CU a chance to throw you for a loss. So I wouldn't be surprised just to see him hand it to Strait or some basic running play, take some time off the clock and take their chances with the kicker.
The clock's still running. 1:10 to go in the game. It's a 3rd and 8 situation for Baylor. J.J. Joe just goes down with it. You're exactly right, Dave. They did nothing but eat up time off the clock, and now they're going to bring the field goal unit on.
Colorado's taking a timeout.
With 55 seconds to go.
And now they've got 1 timeout. Not a lot of time to work with should Ireland make this kick.
Jeff Ireland, as I told you before, 10 for 15 in field goals last year. He already has 2 of them today. Well, earlier in the game, CU blocked the field goal. And they certainly need one of those right now. The kick by Ireland will be a 29-yard attempt. Check that. A little shorter than that. 26-yard attempt. Check that. 36-yard attempt. I'm sorry. I didn't do too well at math in school. 36-yard attempt for Ireland. This kick would give Baylor the lead if he makes it. And it is good. Baylor going a little crazy on the sidelines here. Baylor with a 16-14 lead now. 51 seconds to go in the game.
You can see the fans in the end zone. They think the kick was wide, and it was close. Ireland with a very strong lead. He busted that one. It looked like it went right over the top of the left upright. Take a look at it. I don't know if we can see the angle of where the ball goes through the upright. Yes, indeed. That's about as close as you can get. But Grant Taft will take it. This is an excellent angle here. Well, I tell you, I don't know about that one.
Well, the Buffs' last loss came just about 1 year ago in Champaign-Urbana against the Fighting Illini. It was Illinois 23, Colorado 22. And right now the Buffs staring at possibly another loss, a loss that would break an 11-game winning streak.
I tell you what, this game far from over, however. 51 seconds to go. Colorado still has 1 timeout left. Ireland has been excellent today at kicking off. Colorado has not had a chance to return any kickoff. So Bill McCartney and Gary Barnett and Darian Hagan on the sideline thinking, what do we work with if we have it 1st and 10 on the 20, which more than likely that's where the ball will be.
Ireland setting the ball up on the tee. Back to receive the kickoff for CU is Hudson and Johnson. Chris Hudson and Charles Johnson. "51 seconds can be an eternity in football. However, as Dave just told you, each team with just one timeout left. Ireland gets off a good one.
Good night.
And it will not be run back. Well out of the end zone. So the Buffs will have the ball on their own 20-yard line with 51 seconds to do something. Keep in mind, a field goal will win it. There's some of the people who have helped us put on this production today. Inside and outside the booth.
Jim Harper, by the way, his career long is 54 yards. Ball has to get to the 37 for that to take place, or at least an attempt.
1st and 10. Hagan going deep. Nobody near it. Intended for Rico Smith. It was 5 yards over his head.
Easy to second guess again from up here, but there's plenty of time for you to hit some intermediate routes, some out cuts. You don't have to get it all in one throw. Baylor is deep in the secondary. You're going to be able to complete some passes. You've got a timeout left. Your receivers can work the sidelines. There is time to move the football.
2nd down with 44 seconds to go. Oh, Hagan hit from behind. That was Robin Jones getting him for a loss of 1 yard. Boy, they've got some quick guys up front. .25 seconds left.
Colorado's used their last time out.
The situation is this. Baylor with a 16-14 lead on a late field goal. 25 seconds to go. The Buffs with the ball on their own 18-yard line. It's 3rd down and 12 to go. And things right now look very bleak for the Buffs.
Well, I'll give credit to Baylor defensively. They looked like they were just about to fade a bit in the second half. But kept Colorado out of the end zone with a touchdown that would have sealed the victory, and then blocked the field goal attempt by Jim Harper. They've made enough plays here in the football game to go away with a very well-deserved win if they hang on.
A couple of CU streaks at stake here. I recently told you about the 11-game winning streak. They also have a 15-game winning streak on their own field, a home winning streak. 3rd and 12. Hagan, plenty of time, looking for Charles Johnson, complete at the 50. A nice pass, a nice catch. Hagan to Johnson.
I'll tell you, a great pass and an unbelievable catch. Charles Johnson, the inside receiver, runs a flag pattern, will catch the ball at midfield and get cracked from behind and in front, out of bounds, and now you've got time before they start the clock. Hagan should down the ball immediately. If they don't have people in the game, as soon as the ball is snapped, throw it right into the turf, stop the clock, unless you've got the play called you like.
17 seconds to go. The Buffs at midfield.
They've got the right personnel in the game.
Dumps it off to his tight end, Sean Brown, who gets it to the 45. And out of bounds, so the clock stops with 11 seconds to go.
The problem is this. If you throw the ball inbounds now, there's not enough time, I don't think, to get up, hurry your people to the line, and down the ball to stop the clock. You have 11 seconds. Thus, the next play has to be something either into the end zone, which I don't think will happen, or to the sideline And with Colorado's offense, everything is off play action for the most part. It takes a lot of time to develop. So this might be it, the last chance you have before the field goal.
So you're saying one play, time enough for one play and then the field goal.
You got to pick up at least 10 yards. See?
Well, scrambling like this, it's intercepted. And this ball game is history. CU trying to get into field position. The ball is intercepted by Baylor cornerback Frankie Smith. 1 second to go on the clock. You can put it in the books.
Mark Henry was open on the play. Hagan really tried to gun the football, and it looked like he may have just overthrown it a bit. Henry on the comeback route was open about the 30-yard line.
Well, there we told you the two streaks that are about to end. The winning streak and the home winning streak. This Baylor team every bit as good as we were warned. And that's it. The Buffs lose at home to the Baylor Bears of the Southwest Conference, 16-14. We'll be right back to wrap things up.